Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
It is feature time in Tulsa. Let's go green.
He's got the run, but is it enough? It's a drag race to the finish. Culver goes from third to first in the last quarter.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races such as the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR calendar, such as the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600. We have races from disciplines across the racing world, from the Indy 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events use iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against everyone taking part. As every race progresses, watch and feel the track change, with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline, or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
It's the Majors series. It's live on SimSpeed TV as we head to Twin Ring Motegi in the classic Indy cars. David Haynes here with Connor Nixon and Jay Kennedy on SimSpeed TV as we bring you the international series of Majors, the international division, and a great race ahead of us. Classic Indy cars on a classic Indy car oval, and it looks like a beautiful day, Connor.
It does a bit, yeah. A couple of clouds getting around. First time here, so this should be interesting.
So let's take a look at the circuit. It's north of Tokyo in Japan. I don't want to guess, maybe an hour and a half north, something like that. And actually really not that far from Tsukuba by some measurements as well. A multi-purpose facility, lots of different tracks, so many different series have been here. Sports car endurance racing, motorcycle racing, the IndyCar series. Pretty sure NASCAR even came by at one point. In August 1997, it opened, and it is a 1.5 mile oval with a beautiful road course intermingled in between in this incredibly mountainous area of Japan. You've got turns 1 and 2 more wide open and faster. Gets a bit tight, but a little bit more banking, I feel, through turns 3 and 4. It's got that just slight egg shape to it that gives either end of the track a different characteristic.
Yeah, it feels like with this track, they've kind of just put everything into it, haven't they? They wanted an oval, they wanted a long track they can do endurance racing in, and they wanted a go-kart track on the side as well, as we can see on the top right there. So it's like they've put everything here.
And in the great history of themed cafes of Japan, there's also Gran Turismo Cafe in the infield. If you want to get yourself a bite to eat. A circuit owned by Honda Motor Company. They have lots of events here for staff, for advertising, and many, many series that come here will feature Hondas in them, whether it's IndyCar racing, whether it's motorcycle racing, whether it's Super GT or Super Formula or any of those things. So a multi-purpose facility for Honda that do a whole lot. Do you want a generator for your campsite? They'll do that too. A good look at that weather now. Bit of wind from the west, just gusting a little bit, something to keep in mind. So that would make it a tailwind on the front straight there past the pit lane. 20 degrees in the air, 26 degrees on the surface. Overcast, but with the sun breaking through occasionally and just a modest humidity. But what effect do we think that wind might have?
Yeah, it's going to have a load of effects here. If it's in a certain direction, the braking could be compromised, and if you're getting pushed down the straight, that is a big green flag for anyone. You'll gain heaps of speed off that, probably half a tenth or so. So should be really interesting to see where that wind direction goes all race, to see if it kind of changes the track. And obviously, a lot of things are going to change around this track as we go. We'll see the deg and the rubber move around this beautiful track. Obviously, when they're running the low line, they'll be pushing all that rubber up. And then when they're not up the top, or if they're on the top, it will be pushing down. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens around this beautiful racetrack today. And obviously, with that wind, it will be a big thing.
So we know about the track. We know about the cars. It's 200 lap race for the major series Indy Japan 300. Single file restarts as is typical IndyCar tradition, and no lucky dogs, no green-white checkers. It is open wheeler rules. This is a championship standings for the international region of major series. In the outright category, James Walker from Robert Northway and Ewan Baker as the top three. Justin Morton, Garen Batten, Ben Doherty, Hayden Kirk, Rob Deloach, Ryan Steele, and Dylan Jordan are our top 10. Could be a point swing on offer here today. And Connor, let's look at the other divisions.
So this is the over 50s standard. So we've got Robert, Jake, Dan, Ray, Gavin, Wayne, Philip, Stuart, Ryan, and then Rogers. Our top 10. So that's for our 50s division. And moving back.
That's our divisions for majors international region. Taking a look at the kind of speed we're doing. Ewan Baker, 5th gear out of turn 2. He's pulling low here and onto the apron just to frustrate our efforts. We go to Ryan Steele. I love the classic dash in the wheel for these cars and the shift lights. So off of turn 4 in 4th gear, picking up speed. There is a heap of power to these 3.5 litre Honda V8s. Just got to feather it or it scrubs a little bit through 1 and 2. Steele is holding 6th gear out of 1 and 2 as we ride on board with a minute left in practice before they'll kick over into qualifying. We're getting an idea of how these cars are going to handle the track, and so are the drivers.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. It looks like the car's very gripped up at the moment, obviously with these conditions being very overcast as we can see. And it looks like, obviously, when you've got this much coverage of a track. It's very dark on the track, and yeah, it looks very grippy out there. We saw just an on-lap there with Steele, and yeah, it looks really grippy out there. And just looking how much he could really hug the inside without that car really fighting shows a lot for moving into this race.
Speed through 1 and 2 was significant. This doesn't look like the complete speedway configuration on these cars for a 1.5 mile oval. Shane Bowen right up against the apron, down low through turns 1 and 2 there. So then you're trying to slingshot heaps of speed onto the back straight. You might be able to force someone to defend and go around them through the slower turns 3 and 4. So there's a lot of challenge to be had out of that final sequence, and it's about setting yourself up, exiting 1 and 2, challenging into 3 and 4. We'll go into qualifying, and I think initially it should be pretty busy. The drivers have 15 minutes to complete 4 flying laps. Well, that could happen very, very quickly if you're going to leave pit lane at the start of this session, as a handful of drivers are.
Yeah, coming out now, we can all see them just coming out of the pit lane, and it seems like the track conditions have changed all of a sudden. Now we've got cloudy conditions, so it seems like we're going to have a very interesting qualifying here. I don't think it will be the same standings as we saw in practice, so it should be nice and sharp and sharp. Oh my God, falling over my words there. So we'll see what happens here, and on our flying lap now.
So fastest lap in practice was sub 30 seconds, so this could be all over in 2 minutes if the drivers push 4 consecutive laps on one set of tyres. We go on board with Garen Batten now exiting turn 4 right up towards the concrete wall. Timing line there at the start-finish line, and the lap time begins, and the first lap completed briefly sends him to the top before Dan Stevens eclipses him, and we'll see these times begin to tumble as they go. 6 times on the board now. Dan Stevens still holding the top. We take a look. He's set up 3 monitors with the bezel deleting prisms in between as well.
Yeah, with the bezel free kit, they've ended up being not a thing anymore, and Baker is second. Cam Dance up to number 1 there in the 600 machine there. So straight up to the top for a 28.5, the best so far. Dan Stevens stays in second, finishing his lap out as well. Good to see Cam Dance being quite happy about his lap there. Very emotional there, we can see there from Cam Dance. So good to see that he's put a lap together that is good enough for pole. We've still got 12 minutes here, so we'll see what happens. See who can bump him off there. So on board with Phil here now. Haynes, is it shocking to see Mr. Cam Dance up the top, or you?
No, I'm keeping my surprise under wraps. What I am surprised by was he did 1 flying lap and then he pitted. There's other drivers staying out there, going to do the 4 whole laps consecutively. Maybe sort of like build up to it, build up to pace, but the sun's come back out. So if we're using this 15 minutes to try to cloud hunt, everyone who's out on track right now might not be experiencing the best of the conditions. It's just past midday, so if the sun stays out, the track will keep heating up. I don't think the air temp's going to drop, but the track temperature could be slightly variable. Tiny twitch exiting 4 for Thomas Hinz, and that time, what is it going to move him to? Only up to 14th. He doesn't quite seem to have the pace that Cameron Dan Steenmol and Daniel Stevens have got as the top 3 right now.
Car looks very twitchy at the moment. Watching on board with Hinsey there, we could really see the car was moving around a lot. Watch his steering input with the zoom feed we've got here. If anyone wants to get on board, there is a link. Come jump on it, and but Hinsey comes around again. Let's see where he goes to, and don't think he's moved anywhere. So quite interesting. He's went for another one, but yeah, looks like the car's been fighting around a lot for Hinsey, and he's on his last lap here now. So we'll see if Hinsey can improve. Hinsey being Mr. Consistent, we've seen him do very well in the AOG series for the IndyCar season that was ran last time. So see if Indy can put it together here. And he's just going to pull off here now, and no improvements, it looks like, for Mr. Hinds.
Well, we're going to take a look at Robert Northway, who might have just bended on one of the previous laps. No time yet. So Northway... maybe I was seeing that from a different driver. Going to keep an eye on this first flying lap from Robert Northway. PB the first sector, because it has to be. It's his first flying lap. And then out of the final sector, just trying to use all of the track, and he does. Minimise the twitch, 28.830. Still 0.3 short of that time set by Cam Dance. Northway's going to pull off. And who's going to be next to come out on track? I think with this sun, they don't want to. There are drivers with times still sitting in their back pocket that are just waiting for cloud to come across the racetrack.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that. We could see with a lot of with Hinsey being a main one, we could see the car was fighting a lot compared to practice. We saw in practice it was very, very smooth and a lot of grip. So the track's probably changed a lot here. And I think some of the guys are kind of waiting. We can see there's a lot of cloud coverage on the back straight here. So that might be a big factor, like you said, Haynes. So we'll see what happens here. It's going to be very interesting. Hodge starting for a lap as well. Now crossing the start-finish line now. And he's going to be firing into turn one. And, massively off the bottom there on the white line. Slowly goes back to the apex at the end there, but doesn't really go all the way to the bottom. So maybe he's just doing this as a bit of a warm-up lap to get some speed. And then here we go. This might be the big run we're looking for here now for the second lap.
So there's 4 drivers that haven't set a time yet. Michael Hogg's one of them, and no longer as he'll go to 30th. That was a real sort of slow build-up type of lap. Now we think he'll push a little harder, closer to the apron through 1 and 2 that time. And then 3 and 4 is where you've really got to be committed on a lap here, because if you carry too much speed in, if you don't slow it right and you get your line wrong, you will end up in that outside wall. You can see there's some scuff marks on it, and that's a witness to how some other drivers have driven this one. Only a tiny bit of time shaved off that one for Michael Hogg. Sun comes back out again a little bit, and he'll keep the throttle in, trying to push on these laps.
Seems like at the moment where there is about a 1 second difference between the 30 drivers out there at the moment. And there's hit on the barrier there for Michael Hodge. But at the standings at the moment, seems pretty close at the top. Top 6 at the moment is covered by 10th. So the track temp is absolutely skyrocket there. So it might be a case here where might just be kind of flattening out with the times. It might have been the lap 1 and that might have been it, or lap 2. People warmed the cars up. I don't know with the oil pressure if that's a thing in these cars. I know with the new car, oil pressure was a massive thing before the update. Obviously, that's been changed a little bit. So 7 minutes to go. We'll see if these guys improve or go back out even. But it looks like it kind of might just stay like that.
So I'm going to take a look. Who's got flying laps left in their pocket? Pretty sure Cam Dance does. I think he only used 2. Even Baker might still.
So for the moment, we have 3 in the pit lane that haven't done laps. So we're going to wait and see if they come back out. Having Baker sitting on the pit lane at the moment at the end of the blue cones, or the green cones. Forgot the blue cones go all the way around. And Cam Dance on screen there. Sitting and waiting to see if the track temp does die off a little bit. We do have a car on track going around at the moment. car 9. So see if he's doing a run or not.
Justin Morton's 4 laps completed already, and was one of the drivers that got a meatball flag.
Oh.
Massive crash in turns 3 and 4. Did touch a little bit of the apron down low as well. Got into a slide. Ended up in the top of the barrier, and I think all 4 wheels going the wrong ways.
He's done a good job there to damage the car. At least he's hit it nice and hard and testing the barriers to see if they are working out there.
So I found who's got laps still in their back pocket. So 1 lap completed Cam Dance, 2 laps completed Dean Moll, 1 lap completed Ewan Baker. Everyone who's completed 3 laps, I don't think can actually get back out there and do another one that counts. So Craig Tilson, Shane Bowen, and Ben Doughty, who are 6th, 7th, and 8th, might be done. But then also Robert Northway in the number 1 car has only done 1 flying lap. So Northway, Dance, and Baker all look like they could go again if the track temperature went their way, but we've just seen on that graph that it is steadily rising, not like the Nikkei in the 1990s.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's all steadying out at the moment, and we've only got 1 car on the track at the moment, really circulating. Oh no, and that's about it. So for the moment, it seems like everything's kind of fizzling out for the moment. We've got 4 minutes to go, like we've said. We'll see if the track temp dies out. But it would be interesting to see when that does drop off. We have seen in multiple events that it does drop and a lot of cars come out. So I wouldn't be shocked if we have 20 cars out on track all of a sudden, for an example. And yeah, they're all getting around. So it might be just sitting and waiting. Bit of a patient game, Indy cars.
Morton with one of the more interesting iRacing flags that I've seen. We've got Australia, New Zealand, US, Scotland, etc. He's racing with the flag of Tokelau, dependent territory of New Zealand in the southern Pacific Ocean. It consists of 3 tropical coral atolls. So that's a new one for me. I've already seen South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands and Antarctica. This new for this iRacing season system of dispensing with the old clubs and giving everyone the choice to select whichever flag they would like. Ewan Baker, interestingly, has the flag of New Zealand, not the flag of Scotland, but he's going to head out on track. I think at this point, if you've got a lap to burn, you just got to go out there and do it, because otherwise, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Well, that's it. You're not going to lose anything going out. So we're going to see Baker here take another lap and see if he improves or not. Looks like with the low line, he went nice and low there, really trying to get a nice run out. He might be... No, this is definitely a lap. Nice and high, nice and close to that bank, to the wall there. Right to the bottom there. Oh, look at that white line. Kiss the white line. Get some rotation. Oh! And as I talk about the rotation, it snaps back. And that will not be an improvement. Dean Mull here, an American. We're talking about flags. This is the flag that invented this car. So Dean Mull, 2nd at the moment. Not far off Mr. Cam Dance. So we'll see if Dean Mull can improve here. So right again, straight into turn 1. Nice. Oh, that's going to be a good exit here. Late apex there. And really up to the wall there. And it seems like the cars are very sketchy, like we said at the start. There are a lot of corrections we saw with Baker running that white line. It doesn't look like they really want to touch it, because the moment they touch it, it's not producing any grip. Across the line, Dean Mull. And no improvements there.
A second away from an improvement, such as the state of that lap and the conditions. So his lap time that counts was 28.6. That was a 29.6. We look again at the graph at the very start of this qualifying. track temperature was 27 or 29 degrees. Massive slide on that right rear exiting turn 4. It's up to 35 now. And so as we go in towards the race, I guess even if you're not improving in qualifying, get out there and see what the track conditions feel like as we head into the race, because it could be a lot slipperier than it was in qualifying.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, it's not a terrible idea. Get out there. Whoa! Robert Norway just going around there on the start finish straight there. And, but yeah, it's definitely not a bad idea to get out there and really test the conditions, because if this is the type of conditions you need to drive in, this is what you need to drive in basically, and get the car as suited as possible with the roll bars and the weight jacket. And that's checkered flag for qualifying. And you want to go through the results?
Yep, 15 minutes of qualifying wrapped up, leading us towards a 200-lap race. Japan Indy 300 for the Major Series International region. Cam Dance is going to be on the pole position, a 28.5, putting him ahead of Dean Moll. That is the front row. Behind them, Daniel Stevens and Ewan Baker, 3rd and 4th on the grid. Next row, Wayne Hutchison and Craig Tilson. That's row 3. Row 4, Shane Bowen and Ben Doughty. And then that top 10 has Gavin Barber and Sam Harper. Qualifying in 11th, Ryan Steele with a very good throwback livery. In 12th, Garen Batten. 13th, Ray Partridge and Robert Deloach in 14th. Julian Mookie in 15th, Thomas Hinz in 16th, a little late out on track in qualifying, and that seems to have hindered them significantly. Robbie Bradbury 17th and Justin Morton 18th, Dwayne Burns 19th and Chris Yatito in 20th, and Robert Northway in 21st, Jake Fox in 22nd, Stuart Elder in 23rd and Adam Johnson in 24th. Phil Otto 25th and Jason Lottridge 26th. Brian Scrivener 27th, Hayden Kirk in 28th. Getting towards the last of the drivers that did set qualifying times, Timothy Klaus and Michael Hogg 29th and 30th. Then without a qualifying time, Joseph Homan and Matt Chalker, Craig Hawkins 33rd. So they'll start on pit road behind the pace car that'll lead them away on their formation lap. Now, weather conditions changing just slightly into this racing session, Connor.
Yeah, changing the conditions again. Seems like it's very up and down today. 31 degrees it's dropped to now, so moved down a little bit. We were at 35 degrees, so dropped a little bit. And northwest as well, 58 humidity. And Cam Dance will lead us away on the pace lap here, so try and get the tyres as cool as possible. Don't want to have any major heat spikes in the tyre. Obviously the tyre being very precious, we don't want to put any heat into the tyre at all for the start of the stint for the race. So all the drivers will be worrying about is the temperatures, really. It seems like the big thing of today, of this event.
So 200 laps. Cautions possible if we have some wrecks. Could be a very strategy-intensive race. When we stay green, these Indy cars are very thirsty. They churn through that fuel, so you're going to need a couple of times to pit road for the fuel and the tyres, of course, managing those temperatures. The green flag waves, 200 laps begin, and immediately from second position, Jake Fox crashing into the wall, bringing a yellow out immediately from a slow start, slamming the throttle in first gear, has lit up the rear wheels, and Ewan Baker has a black flag. Dean Moll and Jake Fox have meatball flags, and the first of 200 laps is incredibly dramatic.
Yeah, that was very dramatic. We saw there with Jake Fox just going straight into the wall there. So that was very interesting with that incident. So there might have been a bit of contact that was very weird. It might have just been actually wheel spin. These cars have a lot of torque. Driving these cars are very difficult. I've had the pleasure of myself doing them, but yeah, they're just instant something there happening. And oh, there we go, bang, straight into the wall there. And Jake Fox just having major damage there. So that
Dean Mole as well did it from the outside of the front row, and I think in doing so, Ewan Baker's got a black flag for passing before the start-finish line when the other car was crashing. This is a replay of the race start. Heading towards the green flag, pole sitter Cam Dance on the front row on the inside. On the outside, Dean Mole, and the green flag waves, he stomps the throttle and he stomps straight into the wall. Baker gets a penalty for passing him before the start-finish line, which I guess with 198 laps still to go, he'll serve and be able to recover from.
Yeah, my apologies. I thought it was Jake Fox, but yeah, Dean Mole going straight.
Both of them. They both mashed the throttle, went into the outside wall.
Yeah, Dean Mole going straight into the wall there, and that will be major damage. With that being a very big thing for the start of the race, you really don't want that for the start of your race. That is definitely not the way you want to start a race at all. And we can see here, Dean Mole with massive damage. Rear front right wheel absolutely not even there anymore. I think there's only a piece of string holding that on now, coming into pit lane now. And hopefully he should be able to get that all fixed up.
Yeah, pit road's open. There's a couple of other drivers that have gone for it as well. So with no damage, Michael Hogg has gone for an early stop from 30th on the grid, just to change the tyres, top the fuel up, and won't lose much in the way of track position, but will gain just a tiny bit of extra fuel. Cam Dance is loving life as these 200 laps continue to get eaten behind the safety car, and Ewan Baker in third has a penalty that he'll have to wait till the green flag to serve. We will get a single file restart, which hopefully makes things a little bit cleaner and sends us racing again shortly. Lights are still on the pace car, so we might have to wait another lap around to try to get this Japan Indy 300 underway.
Yeah, with Evan, with Baker there.
Baker's penalty's been cleared.
Oh wow. This has been cleared. Oh, wow. So that's avoiding a crash.
Pragmatic and makes sense, but I didn't think... I just wasn't confident it would happen.
Yeah, I rate that massively from their organisers here. And that is a big thing that will help Baker there. But yeah, avoiding a crash is, what you need to do. And it's been cleared, and he is good to race, so it's good that he avoid that incident there. Getting even a bit of damage on these cars, you know about it instantly, so avoiding that and not getting any damage and the penalty being cleared might if I was Cam Dance, I'd be thinking, oh, Baker's getting a penalty, we're cruising, but it's been cleared, so Cam Dance might have a little bit of a dance to have on his hands there, and then Dan Stevens right behind as well. So see what happens here for these 200 laps. So, but being a 30-second lap, that would have been very bad for Baker there. So on the Zoom feed here, and green. And Cam Dance has had an awesome launch, and Baker straight to the inside now, nice and low. He's going to try and get that move done, and he's already had it done before the exit. Dan Stevens is going to try and get a run onto the back straight here. Doesn't look like he's going to get much done here. He might actually just sit behind and cruise around for a bit. Cam Dance is absolutely off into the distance, 6/10 out in front now, and into the sunset. Another battle here, car 23 on the outside. And Sam Harper. Sorry, my apologies. My words have been no good today. Cam Dance, fastest lap, 30 seconds on the money, basically. Running out to number 4 here. Too wide here again, given Gavin here. And Barker here on the inside. He's going to try and run the low line. Another Zoom feed. Good to see everyone's on the Zoom feed here tonight. He's going to try and get the run done. Oh, he's not going to have it done on the outside. We have got car number 12, Sam Harper, going for the fastest lap as well. Awesome zoom feed there from Gavin there. It truly looks like he's in that car at the moment. It seems like he's got motion on the simulator as well, so it's going to be bouncing around a lot this race. I'd be getting some motion sickness for sure. So Haynes has had a bit of a interruption with his computer. It has not went the way that we've wanted, so I'll be talking for a while here. Too wide again, turn 1. Car 70 on the outside. Brian here. Fusion, Silver, and Hayden Kirk. Kiwi Sim Racing. Seems like Kiwi Sim Racing is a very big team in this race on the inside. Hayden's going to try and run the outside. And he's going to hold it as well because he's got that massive run there. And it's going to tuck back in. Lap 9, fastest lap again. Robert, Northway. So it seems like everyone's putting some really fast lap times down at the moment. And it seems like Baker's trying to hunt down Cam Dance at the moment. It looks like that gap's come down a little bit, but nothing major. Cam Dance seems like he's kind of in his own little race at the moment, giving all that dirty air to Baker there. So we have David Haynes back in the commentary booth.
Partly.
So Baker following now Cam Dance, and we'll see where this goes. But Baker, if he gets a little too close here, it could end up ruining the tyres and pushing too hard. That will be the big thing in this race, will be a tyre issue, being in the dirty air. Lap time's coming up now. So lap 9, Baker was actually faster by quite a margin. And then Cam Dance is bringing it back in on lap 10. So lap times are sitting at about the 29s, low 29s.
Couple of positions changing hands though. Thomas Hinds moving ahead of Robert Deloach, so beginning to move up after qualifying that maybe didn't suit his oval pace. Dance and Baker a couple laps in a row, just trading equal lap times and keeping this kind of a gap. Dance won't be in a hurry to reach any traffic if he can avoid it. And this is some of these battles around these positions here. So Hinds has just moved ahead of this kind of group, and then Justin Norton and Julian Mookie fighting each other back here. Different lanes at work through turns 3 and 4 is what you've got to do. But for Mookie, I don't think it's worked out. I think he's now under more pressure than he was before.
Yeah, it seems like one move has went wrong, and it seems like he is just getting absolutely hammered at the moment by everyone. It seems like when you make one move, it's got to stick, or if not, it's you have a massive drama on your hands. Being such a wide track as well, it's going to be one of these issues where these guys will be 3 wide, so they'll be keeping in the back of their mind to fuel save and kind of sit in this train for a while. And we'll see what they do with tyre strategies as well. It seems like a massive bomb there from the Kiwi Sim Racing up the inside, and he will get that move done. Mookie on the high line, he might get him on this back straight though. Robert Northway, and he's gotten it done, and it seems like he did that so perfectly. Nothing.
Bowen and Hutchison have been trading positions back and forth a couple of times here as well as they head across the start-finish line. It's now Bowen in behind, looking for a lower line, looking for clean air on the nose through 1 and 2. Looking to really flow speed here, ended up just underneath the rear wing of the other car. So now you've got to pick and choose which way you want to go, heading down towards 3 and 4. Bowen will have a tight line heading onto the inside, short way, but might just lose out a little bit through the mid corner because rolling that speed up high and around the outside moves Hutchinson back into 6th.
Yeah, Hutchinson really seems like another run here out of the turn 4. I was trying to remember where we are. And yeah, Hutchinson getting a run there. You can see that, and he's backing out there. Or Shane Bowen, apologies. Getting a run there, but backing out of it. So he actually might just sit here now. Bowen may just sit here now. And Thomas Hens on the inside. Oh, Haynes goes. Sorry, apologies.
Hins and Partridge were side by side through 3 and 4. Partridge has just managed to stay ahead. Hins with a tiny bit of a slide, trying to cut his nose back underneath in turn 2. Partridge will get the slipstream off the next car in front. This is always the way when you're in the middle of the pack, is it's not just the driver you're racing, but what the rest of the pack is doing. He's pretty confident to take that inside. Is Partridge up just a little bit too high? It looked like it through 3, but then through 4, he just gets more power. Hins is like, I've been cooked here. This guy's got another run back at me, and I just can't quite seal the deal. But that's great for us to see these battles carry on through a couple of corners and across a couple of laps as drivers go back and forth. It's good racing.
Yeah, it's awesome racing here. It's good. They're not all in a single file here. They've really putting their elbows out tonight. Hinsey getting that move done as well. So lap 18 of 200 now. Just crossing. And there's a car low. That should be lap traffic. Or maybe not. No.
Batten's got some problems then. Maybe he's had a slide or a moment through 3 and 4, holding down low but not on the apron, seeing drivers swoop around the outside of him. So here's what, just a little wiggle, a slide and a tap on the inside wall. Chance that that's done some damage, but it hasn't brought out a yellow because he's kept going, hasn't spun it around. It will have dented his car and dented his confidence. He has another wiggle there. I think it also does a number on the tyres.
It would have done a massive dent on the tyres here. Another replay here, but I think he's actually got a bit of rear axle damage, which would be steering damage. Oh, and that is actually a really massive hit there. All being concrete barriers as well, no tyre barriers. So seems like he's got going now. He's still getting past here on the inside, so still recovering that car, and see where that 61 machine ends up in this race.
So he's got Dwayne Burns down his inside. Other battles going on here. Sam Harper, head of Ryan Steele and Shane Bowen. Bowen qualified 7th, runs 9th at the moment, trying to get some of those spots back. He's looking around the outside of Steele here. I feel like that outside through turn 4 is working really, really well, because on the inside it's a snap, a wiggle, and so much momentum lost from Ryan Steele as he tried to open up the throttle on a tight line through turn 4. The car just didn't want to let him. Bowen gets a spot back. Bowen now pressuring Sam Harper off of turn 2, where they seem to be flat out. So carrying so much speed down the back straight here, but absolutely not flat out. A little bit of slowing, a little bit of downshifting through 3 and 4 here. Harper gets a good angle off of 4 to go side by side again. So this is what we love to see, and they are using every line, and it's all working through 3 and 4 at the moment.
Yeah, it seems like you said about the high line, it's definitely working, and it seems like the tyres are already starting to deg. It was a massive thing there with that snap. It looks like the rear tyres are already starting to let go on the inside here with the one.
They've got to get around Craig Hawkins, and it nearly sends us 3 wide through turns 3 and 4. Pretty sure that was Steele that nearly collected and ended up in the outside wall. Millimeters from disaster. Doing everything we can here and demonstrating which racing lines are working, because we just had 3 of them in effect. Harper versus Barber here out of 1 and 2. Barber carrying a fair chunk of momentum, just trying to force Harper onto a line that will compromise him. I think Harper's picked the right line to defend this one for now.
Definitely picked the right line there, yeah. Keeping that high line. The only issue I see there with the high line is the tie deg is going to be massive on the high line. So it'll be interesting to see where it kind of goes with the degradation. So it'll be interesting from that point of view. I think the low line will be the one that you'll deg the less, but the high line looks like we'll keep the spot. Look at that. Ooh, the high line just got a massive run there from the car behind. And Thomas Hens, here we go. Hensey moving up through the field. Running on board now.
Yeah, he's to 11th place right now. Behind Gavin Barber, behind Sam Harper. And he gets that good run off turn 2, but he puts himself down low into 3, where he's really got to dive in there. And if he can make it sort of like a slide job, come up and across, it could work. But he has that tiny wobble some of them seem to have. He'll hold on to it though through 1 and 2. So Hins up into 10th, also making progress. Robert Northway, Ray Partridge is cutting down through 2 with Justin Morton behind.
Wayne Hutchinson, sorry, I was just checking something, up into P6 here. Seems like he's got a lot of momentum in this car and really trying to get through the field and try and get up into this top 3 at 28. So it seems like he's holding on. Normally when we see cars move up through the field very quickly, you kind of know in the back of your mind as a driver they're cooking their tyres, but it seems like he's keeping that pace up and not really messing around at all. Shane Bowen's right behind, right on the back of that diffuser. He'd be getting a lot of dirty air at the moment. You can see on the exit there, nice and close to the wall there. So almost actually kissing the wall there. So that will be a big thing, is the dirty air. You want to keep half of the nose outside of the back of someone's car so you don't wash up into the wall, creating some dramas early on in the race. Shane Bowens with a run here and backs out of it, saving some fuel there.
So those that have run since the start without a pit stop won't be too far away from needing to make one. Always a little interesting how the in and out works on an oval like this. You've got to stay all the way on the apron to the blue cone there on the exit, and then exit onto the back straight. Pretty sure it's similar on the in lap as well, so we'll just keep an eye on how drivers are positioning themselves when it comes time for the first pit stop. Running at high RPMs and high throttle percentage, they really do get through that fuel and quickly. Lots happening in front of Gavin Barber as Thomas Hins gains another one and is now putting pressure on Sam Harper. Ryan Steele just ahead of them. Lots of black and white and red cars in this group, from Wayne Hutchison in 6th to Gavin Barber with the gold nose in 11th. Hins looks low into 3 on Sam Harper. Gets a bit of clean air onto his nose, but doesn't really get alongside Sam Harper to challenge him there. But if your theory about tyre wear and tyre temperature is right, if you can just make the guy in front take a different line to you and defend and overheat his tyres, maybe it builds an opportunity a bit later in this run.
Yeah, that's the theory I'm going with at the moment. It seems like when you're sitting up high, the temperature spikes, and it's more that the cars move around a lot more when the tyre temperature goes up. So we'll see them move around when the tyre temperature spikes. Running on board with our leader of the race, Cam Downs. Very concentrated there, locked in. It looks like he's looking at something, and that would be a weight jack adjustment, and adjusting that into the last couple of corners here, 3 and 4, and straight back onto the oval. So it does seem like they are moving around with a few adjustments in the car. One of them being the weight jack, which is...
Yeah, I think he's going adjustments either end of the race course, particularly if there's a bit of wind, and you've got a totally different characteristic for 1 and 2 versus 3 and 4. That might be what he's doing. Top 5 beginning to stretch away because Shane Bowen and Wayne Hutchison battling each other has been creating a bit of a pack here that Ryan Steele is going to become a part of. Your race leader has started lap 34 and will need to make it to lap 40 to make this a 5-stint, 4-stop race. So as we approach lap 40, keep an eye out for that, but they all will have saved a little bit with the early yellow, which functionally was a waved off and aborted start. Ryan Steele does get ahead of Hutchison and now looks to shape up on Shane Bowen. Which one of these is his teammate? Because he's teammates with one of these guys, and that sometimes makes things easier, but sometimes it makes things harder.
Yeah, sometimes with your teammates, sometimes you want to work with them, and sometimes you want to, kind of use them as a bit of a tool in a way.
It becomes like sibling rivalry sometimes.
It does, definitely. You want to be, in a way, working with them, but at the same time using them. You'd be like, okay, I'll just sit here and, just save a bunch of fuel. And there we go. 2 Penske liveries, actually. It looks like a V-shell livery and a black and white one. It looks like here's another one, Hutchinson here in P8. So I would actually say the 2 of them are Penske, and I'm trying to think, is it a Will Power livery?
Yeah, it's a Will Power Verizon livery.
I was thinking that, but I didn't want to be too sure on that. So looking good there with the dog bear on the side of it. A lot of bear names getting around these days with the teams. So good to see them.
Yeah, drop bear, dog bear, Brisbane Bears, all types. Here's Hinsey. He's in that 10th position, having started from 16th or 17th on the grid, so this first stint's been a bit profitable for him, but I'm sure he'd rather see a little bit of clean air than this constant pack battling side by side that he's had to do. It's kind of high risk, high tyre wear, but it's probably not high fuel consumption if you think about it that way. He sits in behind Sam Harper as we turn into 3 and 4. Gavin Barber showing a little bit of nose. Then about a second and a half back to Justin Morton ahead of Dwayne Burns and Robert Northway. So another group of drivers here, 12th, 13th, 14th, that didn't get out on track and set a great lap when the conditions were perfect in qualifying, but seemed to have a good handle on what lines to use in the race. But this is going to bring out a caution. We've got a massive crash on the start-finish straight. 2 cars together. Timothy Klaus is sideways and damaged, and the other car involved, Adam Johnson, is up in the wall, coming out of turn 4. They've come together, damage to both cars, and just on lap 39, we get our second caution of the Majors Series International Region, Japan Indy 300. Here's how it happened.
It seems like they were too wide here, and it looks like Adam Johnson's lost it in instant contact there, straight out of 4. So seeing that top line really being with the wear there, and Adam Johnson just having a slight snap of oversteer and straight under safety car. We should see some pit stops here, so we'll wait for the pit lane to open up, and we'll see all these guys roll in and take a set of tyres and some fuel on the car.
iRacing sedan safety car picks up race leader Cam Dance with Ewan Baker immediately behind, doing 97 kilometres an hour round the banking. Perhaps it could be a tiny bit quicker, but we'll see when the pit lane opens who dives for it, because the answer is probably everyone who hasn't pitted yet. So it is Cam Dance, it is Ewan Baker, it is the damaged car in behind, and whole field will come in. This is right when we thought they'd want to pit for a 4-stop strategy across this race distance. So yeah, perfect opportunity for absolutely everybody and Vanessa Amorossi to come into pit lane.
Some cars staying out there. We had one car stay out, so that's an interesting option there. So we'll see everyone box now. And
there's no lucky dog, but they will get their lap back staying out, and the pit lane might not be open to them if they're a lap down.
And it's Jake Fox as well, Dog Bear as well. So he'll be trying to get his lap back. So Jake Fox actually had that incident at the start, if anyone remembers that, on lap 1. So
incredibly even pit stops in the race off pit road. Everyone doing about 8.5 seconds. You can see it there. It's either 8.4 or it's 8.8. So it's all about how square in your box you got, because every pit crew is on their marks. And so they exit pit lane in just about the order that they came in. Cameron Dance and Ewan Baker first and second.
Cam Dance with a clean transaction of a pit stop there.
Ryan Steele's made a jump of position on Shane Bowen, I think. So Steele up into 6th with his pit stop time. And yeah, this is where NASCAR would have their race off of pit road kind of graphic and show us who gained, but not very many, really. And a lap penalty for Tim Klaus.
Yeah, Klaus getting a penalty there. So he'll go to the back of the grid there, and he'll be moving back, which is you never want to go backwards on an oval. That is just not what you want at all, especially early in a race. You want to be out in front.
I think he pitted with a closed pit because he was already a lap down. Oh. So I think, like Jake Fox, he probably should have stayed out, but is pitted with a closed pit and is therefore being sent to the end of the line. But it doesn't really matter because of the 31 cars running. Klaus was already 31st. This is Jake Fox coming around, and I'm pretty sure is going to get to the tail of the field on the lead lap.
So that is Jake Fox moving around and getting his lap back, and that is a big thing. You want to get your lap back pretty much early in the race. You don't want to be a lap down right at the end and hoping you're going to get a safety car to get your lap back. That's never what you want at all. So being on the back foot straight away with Fox there is just never good. But he's got his lap back, and we'll see him come up through the field. So that's going to be really good to watch Fox come through the field. Seems like he had a lot of pace in qualifying, so I'm sure he put it to use early
Lights
on.
are off the safety car. We're about to get going again. Cam Dance for the second single file restart of the day. He's just giving himself a little bit of space to that iRacing sedan. That's going to make a late pull down to pit entry as we exit 4, and everyone will know to be careful, gently rolling into the throttle. That's what Cam Dance does. The green flag waves, and beginning lap 43, restarting from our second caution in a 200 lap race from the Motegi Oval. Cam Dance is controlling this one just perfectly as far as his strategy is concerned. Battles elsewhere through the field. Craig Tilson versus Ben Doherty, Ryan Steele into 6th with those gains that he made, has got Shane Bowen right behind him, looking to challenge him into 3 and 4. Bowen on brand new fresh tyres can be confident, trying to battle wheel to wheel, but so too can Steele around the outside, pick up the power onto the front straight and look to defend that position. Cam Dance still leads after the restart lap.
Pulling out to 4 tenths as well, so he's getting away, and Shane Bowen having a nice battle here in 7th. 10th, Justin on the inside, Thomas Hins on the outside. We always talk about Thomas Hins. It seems like he's always coming up, but he is just moving his way through the field and moving up to 10th again. So should be interesting to see Hinsey here with fresh tyres, but everyone's on fresh tyres as well. So you see, it would be good to see him move through up the field.
Taking a look at this side-by-side battle, Robert Northway is down on the low side, and up around the outside of him is Dwayne Burns. Just seems to have a wiggle exiting there. Heading down towards turn 3 and 4, there's a change for the lead. Ewan Baker moving past Cam Dance. Cam Dance now on the high line through 4. Daniel Stevens and Ben Doherty have an opportunity to try to fight with him there, and Hins is losing a spot versus Sam Harper. Cam Dance looking for the race lead again. They can both stay flat out through turns 1 and 2, wheel to wheel. It's all about the perfect car positioning and the arc through 3 and 4. Baker's got his nose in front. Cam Dance is going to dive deep on the inside, low down through 3 and 4. Baker loses a little bit of momentum up high, but then will be able to get a good exit, but he touches the wall. Baker just a tiny scuff on the wall exiting 4. Cam Dance leads across the line. Cam Dance leads into 1 and 2, but Baker is going to get some clean air through 2 and probably will keep fighting this one.
Yeah, he definitely will try and keep fighting, and we've got a 4-way battle now in this little battle here up the front. So they've pulled away, but they'll be trying to battle as hard as possible and change around positions. But Baker really giving it a solid crack there, but he might have a little bit of damage, like you said, Haynes. We saw him just tap that wall, so it will be interesting to see if he will move down through the field if he's got any damage, but it seems like he's moving forward, and Cam Dance getting a tiny little gap on him now. Dan Stevens on the outside now having a battle with Ben Doherty.
And the next battle pack looks great as well. So this restart's reinvigorated the racing at Motegi. Cam Dance has had to fend off a bit of a challenge from Ewan Baker there, but is looking to stabilise it somewhat. Stevens and Doherty are going along with, and this is Baker versus the outside wall. I don't think he touched it, but I think he did have that little slide that we've seen a lot have as the engine spools up and revs up exiting turn 4.
Yeah, and these cars have a massive turbo on them, so it must be the turbo really giving him a solid kick out of the corner. So that's probably why we've seen Cameron Dance really adjust that weight jacker from the front to rear. And moving a little further back, where we were talking about the second pack here now, and we see these dog bear cars fighting against, and they should be working together, but it doesn't look like at the moment.
I thought this spec of Honda Indy V8, the 3.5 litre, was naturally aspirated, but what it does do is rev up really high with a weird power curve that just sort of spikes once you cross 10,000 RPM.
Oh, last time I was in the car, it sounded like a turbo was behind my head, that was all, and every time I put the power down, it would just like ramp really high, so it might be a V8. I could be definitely wrong there. I haven't done enough driving in these cars or information on them, but we'll give it a quick Google search and have a look.
Also looking, there's Ryan Steele in 6th place behind Craig Tilson in 5th, which is sort of the second pack battle that we've got going on. You've got your leading 4, then you've got a little bit of space and clear air. And then Craig Tilson, Ryan Steele, Shane Bowen, Wayne Hutchison, Robert Northway 9th, and Thomas Hinds in 10th. So Northway's been gaining massively off of these restarts. He's leapfrogged Thomas Hinds and into the top 10. Ray Partridge in 16th. He's got Robert Deloach behind, Julian Mookie ahead. And Deloach is looking to just a little bit of clean air. This is Northway trying to make another move. So in 3, he gets his nose ahead. Through 4, he's got to straighten it up to try to get the exit. Doesn't carry as much speed as he would like versus Hutchison.
Yeah, Northway here on the inside here, getting a nice run, and he should have the exit here, and will be covered. There's someone on his inside there, and he's going to tuck back in, car behind. But yeah, Northway moving up, car number 1, really getting a nice run. Oh, another dive bomb there. Massive bomb into 4 there. Doesn't get it onside. Thomas Hinds, again, trying to set up a move there, but went for an early quick move, and it didn't look like it worked out there. He was trying to get the nose there so he could run him up high, but couldn't do much there. So he'll fall back in line. Cam Danson Baker moving back to Tangle again.
Yeah, so nothing like the sort of 6/10 gap we had in the early stint. Ewan Baker's looking to put a little bit more pressure on this time around. He's taking later apexes, so trying to just launch off of every corner, even if he gives out a little bit. And Hayden Kirk is around. That brings out our 3rd caution, the yellow flies at Motegi.
Yeah, Hayden Kirk hitting the barrier there in backwards as well, so he'll have a bit of damage on that rear right, or quite a bit, and hopefully he hasn't taken that fast repair. We'll replay here.
Behind Partridge, so he looks to the inside on Partridge, into 3 and 4 on that tight line. Oh, there was not going to be a 3rd lane there. He gets tagged from behind, and I don't think that was Hayden Kirk's fault.
No, definitely
Connor, you're in the hot seat. Are you pitting or not? Are you pitting or staying out?
I would probably go for a box, just for that tyre advantage. Especially we're going to get a restart here and a massive fuel game at the moment. So I would actually go for a pit stop here. So if you're a mid pack up the front, though, I'd probably stay out. And see
So
what
I'm
happens.
not sure behind Hayden Kirk that a 3rd lane was really going to open up there. This is the look. So there's Partridge. Hayden Kirk moving ahead and then moving to the inside. So we're on board. So Partridge up high. Kirk there. Risky maneuver to try to chop down to the inside when it's already too wide in front of you. It sends Kirk around. He makes light contact with the barrier, brings out the iRacing sedan safety car again, and there is pit entry. And as predicted, the leaders are not going for it, but some a little bit further back with less to lose will go for it. Shane Bowen, Sam Harper, Justin Morton, Dwayne Burns coming in. And if you're in the back half of the field, I think you've got nothing to lose by topping up the fuel and going for those new tyres. Cam Dance, what he doesn't need is to go from the race lead all the way to 30th at the tail end of this group. And because he stays out, no one will get waved around back onto the lead lap.
Yeah, it seemed like with the back of the field, just everyone rolled in. They saw one car come in and they were like, yep, we're all rolling in. And Shane Bowen's coming in as well. So he was in that top 10. So it'll be interesting to see where he kind of formats out. Obviously, with everyone behind him boxing, it's a very good thing that he's only in 14th. So he'll be moving up through the field very quickly with some fresh tyres if we get a long stint here. So everyone in front of him will be kind of hoping... Hopefully we get another safety car and it doesn't really bring a massive effect, but we'll see what happens here.
Could be interesting if we get a long run from here. You think everyone who's just stayed out, which is your whole top 13 positions, will be looking to get to lap 80 in this race before they make their stop. If we get to lap 80 and there isn't another caution, they could lose out making a green flag stop. So I think in the hypothetical situation where we went green all the way to the end after here, the cars behind might be looking at 2 green flag stops, while Cam Dance, Ewan Baker, etc. would need 3 potentially. Lights go off the iRacing sedan, meaning that we're 1.5 miles away from a restart, which will be lap 59.
Yeah, getting to that 80 laps will be interesting to see if we do get another safety car. I'd probably say we will, being that everyone's getting fired up for the next safety car. So we'll see what happens here. But Cam Dance, still our leader of the race since lap 1. So he's done very well here just to manage the race. Baker making a couple of moves, but couldn't really make them stick. So we'll see if Baker makes another move. But I'm very interested to know about how Shane goes here.
Interesting to see that fastest lap of the race holder, Robert Northway, stayed out. So he's 7th now, not far away from restarting this race. Dean Moll, 19th, stopped and is up some positions after where he was initially at the end of lap 2 or 3. So he has a chance to come back through this race. Ewan Baker has now restarted behind Cam Dance multiple times, so Dance needs to find a new move, if you will. And this time he waits longer and slower. The green flag waves, and then we get going. So Dance didn't anticipate it. He waited for the green flag. He stayed up high to prevent Ewan Baker from being able to go around him. And then we go into turns 1 and 2, flat out, all picking up speed towards the maximum speed of these cars above 320 k's an hour. Seeing Steele under pressure there from Northway. Northway's looking to the inside for more positions through 3 and 4. Gets his nose ahead of Steele, but then gets boxed in behind Gavin Barber. We're going to get 3 wide off at turn 4. Oh, there's a big squeeze. Gavin Barber right in the middle. Steele holding his nerves of the proverbial. And now here comes Thomas Hinz as well, giving us a great battle on this restart. Cam Dance still leading. Ewan Baker's got a good opportunity heading down into 3 to try to take the race lead. You look at Thomas Hinz and the laser focus that he's got to have. He's got to control not only his temper, his car, but also keep an eye on everything that's happening around him. Listen to the spotters' calls. It's such a high-stress situation to be in the middle of the pack on a restart like this. Ewan Baker 1/10 behind Cam Dance.
Yeah, Hinsey there really making some awesome moves up from 15th position now up to 7th. So being a very big mover so far. And they've pulled out again. That top 4's just moved out again. Like, it seems like, another move there up the inside on our early restart. There's Shane on the outside here, or Hutchinson, sorry. Barber on low, so he's got to tuck back in, and Hutchinson getting another one full move done.
So on board with Barber in 10th. There's been so much action in front of him. He's going to try to keep it flat through turn 2 and look at his options. Dance and Baker trading that lead back and forth, going side by side. Dance is around the outside, Baker on the inside as they go this way. Dan Stevens is so well positioned here as well to just watch how it all plays out. Exiting 4, you see that Baker's got that shorter distance, but Cam Dance comes onto the straight with more speed, more momentum. Ewan Baker keeps his nose to the inside as they go flat out into 1. Cam Dance leans just a little bit into the corner. Around the outside, he's carrying more momentum, but Ewan Baker will not yield, will not pull his nose out of there, and will keep Cam Dance needing to take this high line all the way up there. So now Baker gets his nose ahead, but then we exit 4 and we'll be right back where we were again. Cam Dance slingshotting off the final corner to lead at the start-finish line.
Yeah, Cam Dance being on the top there. Baker still can't get it done though, but you can just see Cam Dance really hard on the weight jacker there, trying to adjust that car so it can suit being on the outside. Obviously, Cam Dance been controlling the race. Cam Dance is almost going to get it done. Does he tuck down? Oh, he's still going to stay on the outsides. Dan Stevens is good in 3rd here. He's trying to set up a run, but I think he's just letting these 2 battle so he can just sit here and not lose too much time, and the front 2 are just going to tuck back in, and Cam Dance is going to take the lead again, and he runs out nice and wide there. Seems like the car's overheating over that little battle there. Baker's just given him there.
Great view from Dan Stevens in 3rd. A couple of cars making gains, so Shane Bowen's up into 13th, having stopped for new tyres under that previous caution. It's Ray Partridge who's dropping back a little bit, surrounded by cars on new tyres that are moving ahead of him. Plenty of other spots changing hands. So Hinz up into 6th. Craig Tilson moving ahead of Ryan Steele. Robert Northway's all the way up into 4th, and he's been watching that lead battle. Steele's around the outside, up on the high line here. Versus Craig Tilson. Tilson to the inside in the middle finger racing car, black and gold. The black, white and red of Mobile Telecoms. Moving ahead, but massive snap and slide from Tilson. He's getting absolutely mobbed, and cars on fresh tyres are soon about to be joining this pack as well. In 13th, the highest running car with new tyres. There he is, looking McDonald's colours just at the tail end of this pack.
Yeah, Bowens is looking very good here. He'll be licking his lips at the moment, going, okay, do I just run the top and, pray the car grips? Or if these guys move up, and look at this, look how easy that was. Just run the top line and cross right under, and Bowens is going to take the position for P12, passing Robert there. Awesome move there from Bowen. Just really being in that mindset of, let's just play this smart. Let's not deg the tyre early on, and he's just making easy positions at the moment. Obviously, with these tyres being a lot fresher, and look at the pack in front. Just battling there. So this is just great for Bowen at the moment. Oh, massive snap there. Down the inside. He doesn't hit the wall.
Tilson again out of turn 4. Having a massive snap and slide. You saw it. You called it. He struggled with that a couple of times. Craig Tilson's about to get mobbed, and what he needs is 5 or so cool laps just to chill out those tyres, because he's doing too much.
Yeah, Craig Tilson being a teammate with Bowen must have seen that. And up the inside, there goes another car on Tilson. So Tilson's really in this sticky situation where he's up the top, can't do much, and he's just going to be stuck here and just get overtaken every time. He just makes that tiny little mistake and overheats the tyres massively. He will be praying for a safety car and hoping he's not the safety car with the amount of mistakes he's making at the moment, but he's going to run that outside and keep the pace and tuck back in from the looks of it.
Shane Bowen up to 11th on those fresh tyres. Robert Northway up to 3rd. The middle finger racing cars beginning to drop back. Stevens has gone from 3rd to 6th. This is our leading group, and Shane Bowen's not too far behind it. And he can also think how much he's going to gain if it stays green and this group in front of him need to stop while he stays out. He could really benefit from that. More side-by-side racing. Julian Mookie and Gavin Barber back to 9th right now, and hurting. I wonder if they've decided they need a fuel save. We're going to stay green despite this damage to Adam Johnson. He's running in 30th and is going to have to bring that to pit lane. He's got the black and orange meatball flag. Yikes, he's got a long way to go, but he's going to pull it down onto the apron. If you slow that down and keep it under control, don't slide up into the racetrack afterwards. So,
there goes the rear again. Look at that, just the rear snapping again. That's on fresh tyres as well, so clearly these cars are a bit of a handful at the moment, so the track temperature might have changed, or just the conditions of everything at the moment, and just the battling going on. Look at that. Hins and Doughty just getting massive snaps of oversteer, both of them. It's not even... It seems like they're pushing the cars so hard at the moment. Hins around the outside. He's going to get this run as well. He's going to get his car there, so Doughty can't go up top at all. So, and Hinsey is going to get that done nice and cleanly. 37 degrees track temperature at the moment.
Yeah, sun's out, guns out. That track temperature continuing to climb. We're not getting anywhere close to breaking the fastest lap of the race, 29 flat, that belongs to Robert Northway. Northway's last lap, a 30.5, and now he drops back a spot behind Hins there as well. Hins moving up forward, Northway back into 4th. Hins is one of the quickest cars on track last lap as he used the slipstream in the line adequately, but battling for 3rd and 4th, they're going to go back and forth one more time. Up high, way up high goes Hins,
being the most positions actually gained as well. Hins being one of those big movers we've seen a lot, but Northway we kind of didn't really see. Well, I didn't really take notice until I've seen that stat, obviously being so high, 18 positions up, and Hins being up 12. So both of those two showing a lot of pace at the moment.
Can we get a look at the rear attenuator of some of the Penske liveried cars while we're using this angle? I'm just curious. No, that looks fine. That looks legal for Shane Bowen. He's up into 8th. 9th now.
I see where you were getting at, Hayes. I'm very.
You just got to check, once bitten, twice shy, fool me once, fool me twice type stuff. So Shane Bowen with that fuel advantage, that strategy advantage, and some newer tyres, going side by side with his teammate here in this 8th versus 9th group. I wonder if he can't help a couple of his teammates save. Maybe they can extend this stint and there could be an overcut or some other advantage to be had. We come onto the front straight and it's quite congested and packed up here. Julian Mookie's like, can I slot the gap in between? No? Okay. Well, I'll try to drop down a low line up against the apex through 1 and 2. 6th gear, look at those RPMs. Yeah, 9,500.
We saw the little snap of oversteer there, trying to keep it low so he doesn't go up to the car on top. So he's going to try and run this third line here. Look at the overspeed. Oh, he might graze the wall. No, he stayed off it. You can see there he had to lift and actually pull that car back down. Here's another move. Mookie's going to go overtaken here. Barber on the inside, middle finger right this thing. Being one of the bigger teams out there with Bear, Dog Bear, that's it. Oh, so I got confused with Drop Bear and Dog Bear. I was like, oh, don't say the wrong one. But Gav being on the bottom here, trying to get a run, but he couldn't get it done with Mookie being on the outside. It seems like we've been talking about this outside just being so dominant. It seems like when you put it up the inside, you can't do much with it. You basically just put the car there and it's like, the guys on the outside can just run the top and it's like, see ya, mate.
Yeah, it's the speed off of turn 4 because then you've got a straight that's quite long and whoever's got more speed off of 4 just wins the drag race towards turns 1 and 2. Oh, and that's a spin.
That's one of the Penske.
Yellow.
Dog Bear. It's the Dog Bear car and straight around, and it's the Penske car as well and of wheel power. So, or the retro livery to Will Power's livery.
So right on lap 80, we get another caution. For the leaders, this is probably just about right. Let's take a look. Ryan Steele's watching the side-by-side battle in front of him between Northway, I think. He gets down the inside here in 4, but then
there's contact.
On the outside has a slide, so he thought he was going to have another half a car width up high on Doherty, but so he also just pinned to that tight line, pushed up into where the car on the outside was, side-to-side contact, spins him around, brings the caution out. There's the iRacing sedan safety car. Again, it's getting a couple of laps in, and this is probably right on time for Dance, Baker, and Northway to pit in. Looking from Doherty's position, does he just get a bit of a slide on the exit and come down? I think he does.
Yeah, it seems like he was trying to keep the car in check. Didn't really notice he had the car on the inside and had slight contact there. But if you were the top 3 at the moment, you would be loving life. You haven't had to change your strategy. You've had to stay up front and just do laps, which is the most ideal race you could ever have, really. These guys haven't had to do much, and they're all in pit lane. Does anyone stay out, though? No. So it seems like a tyre deficit is not going to change, and they're all in.
Yeah. Looks like Jake Fox might stay out. So from staying out to go to the lead lap, Jake Fox is going to stay out to go to the lead. Craig Tilson, a lap down, has entered the pit lane when maybe shouldn't have. Is that what the end of line penalty is? We'll check later. Hitting the pit box, the pole sitters pit box, goes Cam Dance. Everyone, it just seems to be like 8 seconds to change the tyres, and that's what we're doing. We haven't seen anyone really have to, from completely empty, completely brim the fuel tanks much. Bit of a squeeze on that pit exit, but it will be Jake Fox leading the race from Cam Dance. Robert Northway and Thomas Hins get ahead of you and Baker. Yeah, because Jake Fox has stayed out. Guess who doesn't get waved around? Adam Johnson won't get waved around unless Jake Fox pits.
Yeah, you would you'd be hating to be Adam Johnson at the moment. He wants to be waved around, but can't be able to because of Jake Fox. But Jake Fox staying out, I was saying about the deficit, but Jake Fox, if we get in a safety car or a couple, this could bring him into the mix. But Cam Dance being in third now, second, sorry, forgetting about Adam being a lap down. So does Fox come in? No, he stays out. So
restart lap, either Johnson stays in position there or gets sent to the end of line, I don't think we restart with lapped cars in the mix.
No, we don't.
In these rules.
Yeah, with oval racing in general, consensus is if you're in the middle of two leading laps or two leading cars, you've got to be set to the back. So Cam Dance is just waiting on the bottom to get passed through, and we'll get racing again. So this should be interesting with Jake Fox. We'll see the massive difference between the tyres. So this will be very good to see. But Jake Fox, if he... Yeah, I'm trying to think what he's trying to do, because if you pick green, you're going to be a lap down. So you wouldn't want to pick on a green lap. So yeah, we'll see. He's done a 26 lap stint. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Be interesting. We'll see what happens here. The tyres are not completely dead.
Restart lap, and Johnson is still there. So maybe we do restart with lapped cars in the mix. Jake Fox is probably pretty happy about that, to be honest, because for Cam Dance, Robert Northway and those guys, it's not great to have a restart against Jake Fox with a lap car in the way. I think they can't even lap him before the start finish line. So Jake Fox, if he plays it cleverly, could get a really big lead. We are going to restart here, and they've got to wait till the start-finish line. Robert Northway caught a little bit napping, got Thomas Hins and Ewan Baker all over him. Long stop for Baker cost him. Cameron Dance is going to waste no time going to the inside of turns 1 and 2. Robert Northway up high on the restart, losing out to Baker, who comes through. So caught napping, Northway loses a couple of spots on that restart. Dan Stevens in 6th, Ben Doherty in 7th. Shane Bowen up another spot there and into 8th.
Dan Stevens right on the inside, trying to get a move done, but obviously we've been talking about that outside being very good. So Northway's got to keep that position, and we're going to get another run down the straight. Adam Johnson absolutely getting smothered at the moment with all these cars, so he'll be trying to hold on as best as he can, but everyone will be fighting for tooth and nail here. All these teammates, three cars all together, so they'll be all working together. 2 with red helmets actually as well, so matching everything.
Interesting how quickly Cam Dance is going to close down Jake Fox if we are going to see that kind of tyre difference. And the battle with Northway getting away slowly off the restart and then battling with Hins and Baker created a bit of a gap between this top 2 and the rest. Dance sitting 3/10 back, but maybe just needs to wait for Fox to really get the temperature back into those old tyres before they'll really feel greasy and cost him time through 3 and 4 when Cam Dance might be able to challenge. Looking further back, still more cars trying to put Adam Johnson a lap down. He's just holding the outside line and offering up the inside to this group.
Yeah, my interesting thing is if... Obviously, we've seen Thomas Hins come through the field, so he'll know what the car's going to feel like with dirty air on that nose. Cam Dance has been up front all race, just really not worrying about that dirty air at all. Oh, move done here.
Yeah, and Baker's looking to get back into the top 3 and to get behind Cam Dance where he was before the pit stops. There's the road course going underneath the banking here through turns 1 and 2.
Shot, that is.
Fans everywhere in the stands, and Baker's done it, but at some risk.
Was that contact with Cam Dance there? We just saw it might have been just a snap of oversteer there, but we saw like a wiggle of his car. So that might have been something. See if he's got damage. Baker's got to get a run here up to 1. So we'll see if he has any issues at all. But it looks like Baker's going to run the low line. Cam Dance is going to defend, stay on the top. Baker with a big run here. Oh, was that? No, that wasn't. I thought that was smoke there. Here's a replay of Cam Dance.
Cam Dance, massive understeer through 1 and 2. He's trying to run this high line, and then, oops, he just tags the wall. Maybe fiddling with his bars every corner, every lap has finally caught up with him, because that looked like a car that just pushed a little bit for him on the exit there. And now He's dropped back from Jake Fox. He's got Ewan Baker breathing down his neck, coming off of 3 and 4. Again, Dance wide and up towards the wall. Baker surely has an opportunity here to try to strike, get ahead of Dance. They're on a different strategy than race leader Jake Fox. So for me, this feels like the true battle for the race lead right now between Dance and Baker, and this is the best opportunity Baker has ever had. Fox is putting dirty air onto Cam Dance's nose, and Cam Dance is putting dirty wall onto his outside tyres. He has another wiggle here through 1 and 2. Baker running right up against the apron, will be ahead when the caution flag flies. We have another yellow, and there's big damage. That looks like Steele and Matt Chalker. It is Ryan Steele as well. 2 damaged cars on the front straight. Barney dutifully waving the yellow flag, and Craig Tilson's on his roof.
Yeah, car upside down there. And they've all used their fast repairs here, so they will be out of the road. Oh, they've still got it. Apologies. They've still all got their fast repairs, so we'll see them all take their fast repairs, which, Dan Steele has really had a rough race so far. He's been backwards twice, so we'll see what we get for a replay. But Jake Fox, this is good. This is what he wants. If he boxes now, this is like one of the best strategies you can have, because he was managing that. Oh, here's the contact. Massive contact. That car 12 around.
It's all about the traction off a turn 4. Car in front has a wiggle, checks up in front of him, he tags it, and that slides around and sends Craig Tilson straight onto his lid. 3 cars with meatball flags. Caution flies on lap 91. We're looking again at 76 of Chalker. So he has to check up in the middle of the corner, puts him off the line that he wants. He opens up the power, and just there he has the snap and the slide. Gets tagged, loses his rear wing, and then wheel-to-wheel contact, sliding on his lid, Joe Guan Yu style.
Full domino effect there, and just full upside down. And he actually reset the pit lane, so he'll have about a 2-minute tow, because he just crossed the start finish line. It'll be about a 2:40 tow, roughly, or a bit longer. So that's
Jake
very
Fox is pitted. From the race lead, Jake Fox has pitted. Ewan Baker and Cam Dance have gone back through into the race lead. So with just 11 laps since the last time your leaders pitted, the whole field basically pitted all together. You've got, except for Jake Fox, you've got this split in strategy. So back half of the field and Jake Fox pitting. Ewan Baker, Cameron Dance, Thomas Hinds, Robert Northway, Daniel Stevens, the top 5.
I'm not shocked that he boxed. Obviously, his tyres was when they all boxed, he was on lap 21.
This is best case scenario for him, isn't it? Because he stayed out, cycled to the front, and then another caution came 11 laps later. He pits with that caution, and he's 12th, the highest running car on fresh tyres on this restart, from where he was in the sort of like, he was like 18th or something when the previous caution came out. Stayed out, went to the front, pitted with this caution, cycled to the high mid-pack, and it's game on. We've still got 107 laps to go. Jake Fox, who qualified second and at one point was a lap down, got his lap back, gotten back into sort of the top 12, and on a good strategy, he could still finish on the podium, or dare I say, win this race from there. I think the quick caution has... quick repeat cautions have actually benefited him, even if he was never really in contention for the race lead. He was just there temporarily until this next caution came out. On your screen, fast repairs, aka spare cars. So Dean Mole has used his, but most of our field up front here haven't. Deeper through the field, of course, they will be using them up. About to go restart here.
About to go green. Sorry, I was trying to get some food down. And Cam Dance is going to be behind. But we also saw him have contact with the wall. So I'm kind of thinking, does he have a little bit of steering damage, bit of wing damage? Best case scenario, you want wing damage. You don't really want steering damage in these types of cars or turning left. But we're going to go green. And Haynes, you've been doing an awesome start. So I'm going to let you take this over and...
So Cam Dance will be restarting second. Ewan Baker's first restart of the race. Cam Dance's first time restarting directly behind, and they restarted behind Jake Fox last time around. Going up to speed, it should be completely flat out through 1 and 2 on these restarts because they haven't completely gotten up to speed yet. And that presents an opportunity here for Robert Northway on the inside of Thomas Hinds. Just seems to wobble a little bit on the high line. Daniel Stevens in 5th behind them. Ewan Baker still with that single file lead. Hinds on the outside of 3 and 4. Robert Northway on the inside. Hinds sort of checks up a little bit in the corner, turns down for a late apex, and he's going to try to pick up speed and challenge down towards 1 and 2. But Northway in 3rd position. Ewan Baker leading us into 1 and 2 with Cameron Dance all over the back of him. 3 wide. This group here with Shane Bowen, and that group of drivers in it through the midfield sorts itself out most of the way through the corner, but they were 3 wide heading into turn 1.
Yeah, look at this, 2 wide on the back straight, and it's going to go back to single file for now, and I think that's one of the dog bear cars, and it is, of the 6.
Jake Fox gets a touch. He was the leading car that stopped under caution. Now he gets moved up the racetrack, loses a couple of spots. He's back to 17th.
Yeah, we saw Jake Fox kind of, he was running around the outside, and I think his teammate, yes, it would be his teammate, went for that inside, and yeah, gave him a slight touch up there. So Jake Fox just moving back a little bit, and
yeah, so from 12th on the restart back to 17th, not exactly what Jake Fox wanted. He's queuing up the radio because I don't think he's entirely happy with how it played out up front here. Cam Dance, he's up high and wide through turn 2. That's where he hit the wall before. Robert Northway follows him up, and is Northway gonna just roll into turn 3? Yeah, I think so. Sometimes you can brake into turn 3. Sometimes you can just lift the throttle, roll in. It's the 2 sort of alternative strategies, depending on how much fuel you're trying to save, what your strategy is, how much tyre conservation you're trying to go for. Ewan Baker still leads this one, and we are a lap away from crossing half distance.
How's the telemetry we've got up at the moment? 320 kilometers an hour across the back straight there, and with 9,000 RPM through the corner. So we've seen these cars snap wide on, just snap on exit, and we can see why now with the RPMs just absolutely rev banging on the back straight and on the exit. So it seems like Northway's just backing off a little bit, just trying to not keep any dirty air on the front nose and try and save some fuel. Julian Mookie on the back here, trying to get a move done with Hutchinson's in front. Is he going to go for another inside move? Oh, he has a look, makes Hutchinson's go wide. So compromises on the entry, but he's going to have all the exit here.
It's 150 miles done, 150 miles to go in the Major Series International region, Japan Indy 300. What great battling we've seen out of these old specification Indy cars. Oh, but there's a touch that's going to be big damage. Wayne Hutchison into the wall. Caution flies again at the halfway point, and that thing has become a Cool Runnings toboggan.
It definitely has, with Hutchinson being one of our big competitors here. Meatball is definitely there. We can see it on the top of your screens there, and he's towed to pit lane, so he couldn't get it back to pit lane. Let's have a look at the replay here. Mookie on the inside, having a look, trying to come up as close as he can, but Hutchinson doesn't really move up that Mookie predicts, and there's just massive contact there with one of the middle finger cars actually almost getting hit on the way through there as well. So
there'll be a couple of other cars just behind changing their underwear for sure. It's been 20 laps since last pit stop for Ewan Baker and Cameron Dance, but everyone who stopped under the previous caution have only done 9 laps on their fuel and tyres. So when we come around to the pit lane, it'll be interesting to see what the split on strategy is right now at the halfway point. He's on board with Dean Moll as it skates from right to left in front of him. Hutchison just flying across his vision at one of the fastest parts on the racetrack.
Yeah, with 300 kilometers an hour, that is some scary stuff right here, folks. Another on board here, the middle finger cars. Let's have a look at this on the inside, and see there, Mookie just coming up and bang, instant contact. But that
Ewan Baker stayed out. Cameron Dance is in the lane for the first time between Baker and Dance. The 2 drivers that have, for the most time, been challenging for the race win. We've got a split in strategy behind them, halfway through the fuel tank, or just a little under. Baker is staying out. Cam Dance is coming in, and it's sort of a 50-50 through the field. Dean Moll stays out, and he goes up into second. Ben Doherty, who stopped under the last caution, will go up into third. Shane Bowen fourth. Chris Tito running a race high in fifth, I'm pretty sure. But Cam Dance is going to be 16th on the restart, with Thomas Hins behind him in 17th. This is the most shook up we've seen the field, and it's because of these last three cautions that have come sort of 10 laps apart from each other.
Yeah, I mean, we all know this, the saying, safety cars breed safety cars, and this is definitely what we're seeing. And Jake Fox, we were talking about his strategy before being a little bit of questioning it a little bit, and now it's playing out massively, seeing that he's up into 7th, Cam Dance is in 16th, and I think he's trying to fix that damage. I really think that. We've seen him just move up and just get so much dirty air on that front nose. I think that front nose was damaged, so he's got to cycle back out in the 16th and see what happens here. But the field is very shooken up, and we've got Dean Moll in second as well, which obviously he had that incident on lap 1, so this is awesome for him to come back through the field and really show everyone all the pace he's got. Lights are out. And we're going to see these guys go live here with Baker with the lead of the field. So he doesn't have Cam Dance on his rear or in front of him, so he will be kind of being relaxed in a way, because when you're versing a guy for that many laps, you start to learn each other's techniques and what they're doing and how they're adjusting their cars. So it'll be interesting to see what Baker does with Moll, but Moll doesn't know what Baker's been doing all race, and Moll doesn't know what either, basically, what I'm trying to say there, without my words absolutely falling over each other, which seems like it's been a bit of a rough day for myself. But we're going to go green here, so we're going to come out at 3 and 4 and see these guys go racing again. 104 laps, finished, gone, and we're going to have to see the rest of it, and I can't wait for this. This will be awesome racing. They're going to go right up the top, so no one can get past on the outside. If you pass on the inside, you normally get a penalty. So, and we'll see them go green.
It's the restart rules before the start-finish line. You can't pass someone to their left. So if they're middle of the road like you and Baker is and you get a good run, you can often overlap and pass them round the high side. Dean Moll not getting away well as you and Baker jumped. So Ben Doherty is going to try to challenge him. The whole field of cars that are still running on the lead lap, 25 of them funnel down towards turns 1 and 2. Doherty around the outside, and here comes Shane Bowen with a lot of momentum, so not a great restart from Dean Moll. He's going to be forced to the inside of 3 and 4, which usually isn't the place to be when the tyres are fresh. You just get a little too pinched there, and the car around the outside gets too much momentum. So Shane Bowen's going to have to hope they're level crossing the start-finish line. For Ewan Baker, I don't know what's ideal situation for him here. He's got a good lead, but there are cars deeper in the pack with a lot more fuel than him. Moll still holding the low line.
Yeah, Moll holding the inside line, which we've seen pretty not that great. So he has tucked back in, and we're going to see Shane Bowen in third. So this has been one of the highest positions we've seen him all race. So this will be good to see where he ends up here. And Jake Fox, which obviously is the strategy that has been different all race. Up the inside, we see one of these drivers, which is Burns, up the inside.
Sam Harper's in front of Jake Fox. Robert Deloach is the one behind, now coming off of turn 2. Fox tries to cut back underneath Harper, so he gives himself the inside in 3. You've really got to dive in there with some speed, I think. Harper ends up maybe a little too wide. Here's Deloach, who split the difference in between them.
Harper back on the outside. Oh, it cuts down. Oh, there was this contact mid-corner. Harper's going to get a bad run, so Jake Fox is going to get this finished. He's going to try and come up. Does he come up? No, he thinks about it. Can't do it. Harper's going to stay on the outside. So Jake Fox is going to have to go nice and low. Harper going right up the top, and oh my, he almost brushes the wall. He actually loses a heap of speed, so something's happened there. Wonder if he's actually got a bit of damage off that. Contact 3 wide into turn 1. This will be interesting. Harper on the outside. Does he stay around there? He still stays there, but he actually might have a bit of damage from that.
Robbie Bradbury gains a bunch of positions in the number 35. He's a name that hasn't really factored into the top 10 most of the time so far. But he's in and amongst that. Deloach and Kirk gaining heaps of positions as all of that came on as well. So here's Hayden Kirk on the inside. Coming back into the battle, Sam Harper around the outside picked up some momentum. So this is crazy stuff for around to be inside of the top 10. And Baker's got a 7/10 of a second lead, and Cam Dance has got to fight his way through it to get back into the race. But everyone who stopped under that last caution, he is the best placed with Robert Northway and Thomas Hinds behind him. Those guys are making a little bit of hay, 10-lap fresher tyres than everyone ahead of him. Cam Dance needs to be watching this very, very carefully, because even if you do nothing wrong, if you're side by side with someone who loses it, it could be your number as well.
Yeah, it could be definitely detrimental to the race, and we can just see there with the car 61 touching the white line, so he's going to get a bad exit here. Robbie Bradbury on the inside trying to get this move done on the two teammates. They're going to try and stay together. Cam Dance is going to go to the bottom as well. Oh, Robbie Bradbury getting his nose cut off. Cam Dance is probably going to go low here. Try and get two of these done. Does he get it done? Oh, he gets one done. Robbie Bradbury and Cam Dance just follow through. Northway coming through as well. I didn't see that Northway box, so Northway's following through Cam Dance through this field.
Yeah, Northway and Dance are on the same strategy. They're the highest running cars that stopped underneath the last caution, so they're trying to use a grip advantage on the tyres, and they've also got a fair pace advantage. Everywhere that Cam Dance tries to cut through the field, Robert Northway is following him. That's an incredibly complicated graphic, but it's the drivers who stopped on lap 102 that we're following. Dance in 12th, Northway in 13th, versus Baker, whose last stop was on lap 81. He might be heading towards a green flag stop. I don't think we've seen anyone in any contention make a green flag stop in this race yet. It would be incredibly time costly. Pit lane speed's 80 k's an hour here. You lose time through 3 and 4 getting down to the pit lane. You roll through pit lane. You lose time on the apron on the exit. I think you basically go a lap down making a green flag stop. So it's something that Baker wants to avoid, especially when you compare to everyone else who's topped up more recently.
Well, yeah, like they're doing... I think pit stops have been 37 seconds, 38, and the lap times have been about 29 seconds to 30. So
I guarantee you lose a lap pitting under green.
Yeah, 100%. So, and maybe even going mid-pack to the rear. So, Cam Dance trying to hold. Oh, Cam Dance just sitting in front of Gunn there. Just absolutely, he's just holding on for dear life. But he's done well with the 61. These it seems like with 61, he's had a couple of issues just with oversteer here. So Cam Dance is on the low line, comes up, gives all the dirty air to him. Oh, look at that. Wow, great racing by the two of them. You could see there with Cam Dance coming up and giving him all the dirty air there. So his car's just gotten really loose there from all the air. And car 61's going to come on the inside and try and make a move.
He's going to try to get back to the inside of Northway, but it doesn't work. Northway's going everywhere Cam Dance is going. Dance has got Sam Harper next to try to pick off. Carried good speed through. Off at turn 2, down towards 3 and 4. He really closes up on Harper. He's looking around the outside, but it doesn't work, and it lets Northway get underneath him. So, depending on how yellows fall from here towards the end, it could be a chance that this is a Dance versus Northway battle. And Northway is right with him, because Dance is starting to find more difficulty progressing up through the field, going around the outside of Harper in 1 and 2. That looks pretty
Look at the tyre offset. That is just mega. You could see Cam Dance just staying on the outside the whole time, and Harper's trying to cover that inside, and he's just got nothing. Look at this. Northway ran around the outside. Oh, Northway just having little wiggles there. I think he was just correcting his car there, but you can see there just... The cars are so much better. Cam Dance, whoa!
Dance got a problem. Dance is dropping back big time. It's like he touched the wall just before turn in, and he's dropped back in behind. Did he touch the outside wall before he turned in? He's back up to speed now. He's back trying to pass Harper, but he was way offline through turn 1. Lost 2 positions. Robert Northway goes through into what I'm calling the net race lead. Ewan Baker, 37 laps into his stint, is going to have to stop soon, surely. Dance is having... big struggles. This time in the 1 and 2, it looks okay, but what on earth happened?
That was really weird.
Oh, we're going to go yellow because Justin Morton's into the wall. Take a look at the replay here, and Dance just has a touch of the outside wall before he turns into one, loses his momentum from that. That is weird. He's reaching for something else there, but we're under yellow, so maybe he would. This yellow saves Ewan Baker, the race leader.
Yeah, I mean, he checks behind his steering wheel there. I think he's had a steering wheel issue. Like, I know what equipment Cam Dancer's running, so it's a bit weird that he might have had like a steering wheel issue of some sort there, because we saw him just snap right, but here's a replay of the safety car.
Justin Morton is around the outside here, heading into one. Behind Chalker, he gets hit by his teammate as he checks up, and that sends him spinning like a top, and of course brings out the yellow immediately when there's a damaged car facing backwards on the high line there. So there was just a little bit of a checkup into one, which is normally flat out, but we've just seen two examples of it not being. And do you notice Dance dropped back to fourth gear on his way into one as well? So I wonder if he had some accidental or uncommanded downshifts. Pit lane is open. Ewan Baker comes in. Shane Bowen, Dean Moll, everyone who didn't stop at the last caution we're expecting to see, except Ben Doherty, who will stay out. Who's hit the attenuator? Thomas Hines has hit the attenuator. Under yellow, he's damaged his car. He's spun around. He's dropped to the tail. Surely he'll get an unsafe pit entry penalty as well off of that one.
Made balls for Thomas Hines. It kind of looked like he was going to stay out, didn't want to go in, and he's like, oh, I don't want to go in, and then that was it. So here's another replay of the safety car. But this is between the two Fusion cars, but this is just weird. It looks like the car in front of his teammates has to back off because he thinks the car in front's going to go on the outside, but he doesn't, goes down low, and the teammate doesn't realise what's happening because he can't really see much. Obviously, we can see everything because we have those privileges. But yeah, the Fusion cars hitting each other, and one of them actually towing, and one's got damage, and one's trying to get a lap back.
Yeah, Morton got checked up behind Chalker there, but I don't think he needed to lift that much. And then, you know, the teammate behind, not great visibility when you're racing in a pack like that. This is Hines. He's locked the rears. He's turned down late and he's locked the rears and he's spun into the attenuator, and that is going to use up his spare car as well as costing him a couple of positions. And it's Hines, so we can probably replay that one a couple of times. That's the big cost.
Yeah, I think from looking at that, I think he's back right wheel is not on the flat surface there, so he's still on the banking, hit the brake pedal, not even that hard, and the rears just went around killing the car. So that's very unfortunate there for Hinsey.
We'll take another look at Thomas Spins, and so this is under yellow. Is it because there's another car to the inside of him that turned down earlier? He cuts down late. He's braking, as you say, yeah, half on the apron, half on the banking. If he was committed to pitting, he needed to turn down earlier because there was already a car underneath him that compromised his line. So we now end up with 3 different buckets of strategy as we're on the restart lap here. You've got the top 5 that stopped 29 laps ago. The next 4 cars stopped 19 laps ago, and Ewan Baker in 10th has had his bacon saved by the timing of that caution. He has just stopped and will be 10th in the restart queue with a full tank of fuel and fresh tyres. That graphic of last stop lap would explain as well. So yeah, I'd rather it for the top 10, but it is what it's doing. Ben Doughty is going to lead us on the restart. The car in second position has often fared poorly on these restarts. We go green flag. Cresciutito is not caught napping. We got a spin, and are we going to have an immediate yellow? We are. Hutchison's backwards. Massive crash across the start-finish line. They're still all piling in. They're still all piling into each other. Poor Robert Northway stopped facing backwards, gets driven straight into under yellow. Careful where you're reversing, and that is going to be an aborted race start. It all began with someone lighting up their rear tyres, and there are now 5 cars with meatball flags. Robert Deloach, Garen Batten, Dwayne Burns, Shane Bowen, and Julian Mookie all sustaining damage before they even crossed the start-finish line on that restart. Julian Mookie was the one who stamped the throttle, lost the rears, and spun out. We'll take a look at his perspective on the restart here. Ben Doughty did nothing wrong, but that is Mookie getting it wrong. And then, teammates collide there as well.
Cam Dance also in that little collision there, so I think he might have got some rear damage as well, so bad to worse for Cam Dance here. And look at that damage there on the side of the car there. The side pod absolutely crunched in, so we're going to see a lot of cars box here. Get some damage repairs done, so let's have a look. Let's have a look here.
So for Shane Bowen, okay, yeah, does he get hit from behind? Yeah, so he doesn't mash the throttle because he sees what's happening ahead. 2 cars ahead, someone else is spun out, and so he just checks up a little bit, but then he gets hit, is the unfortunate thing. Northway also got driven into, and that cost him quite a bit of damage.
On board here with Wayne Burns here as well, so getting a little replay of this. There's 2 incidents in this. There's one at the front, and then there's one, there's the second one, and there's a massive pile up there. So Mookie goes around, car 17 goes around with the dog bear car. So there's a little bit of stuff going on here. So, another spin on pit lane.
I think that was a car that was already missing its rear wing, though. For Shane Bowen, it might have been. So I'll forgive that. And taking another look at the aborted restart. So for Hutchison, Baker gets him from behind.
I think Hutchinson is worried about the contact in front, so he kind of backs off it, but it's just a domino effect. You back off, and everyone else just goes, "Oh, we're going," and then that's it. You can't really do much. So unfortunately, there's just massive contact. This is by far probably the biggest incident we've had all race. Look at this. He almost gets it through as well. Car number 1, that's Northway. So that's
and then he gets driven into by someone who had all the time in the world to react, from what I could see. So I was kind of surprised about that one. Garen Batten pits in, Michael Hogg pits in, Justin Morton is on pit lane for the 7th time in this race. And looking at how Garen Batten sustained his damage. So he's leaving a couple of car lengths. If anything, he's trying to anticipate this a little bit to get some momentum. He's got Cam Dance just in front of him, and then it all kicks off, and Batten's like, which way do I go? Closing wedge there, and how about another one just to be sure? The second one was probably a little more avoidable. Lights are off the safety car, and this is how things stand as we're going to restart. Ben Doughty is still leading, has still stayed out, 33 laps since he last pitted. Yatito, Jake Fox, Sam Harper, and Stuart Elder following the same strategy. Daniel Stevens in 6th, 23 laps since he last pit. Ewan Baker's now up into 9th on this restart, with Dean Moll in 10th, Cam Dance back in 12th position. So Jake Fox going to need to stop soon out of 3rd. This is that graphic of your top 10. So the furthest to the right the square is, the more recently they've pitted. The further to the left it is, the less fuel they got on board, the sooner they're going to have to pit. The green flag waves. Ben Doughty leads us for another restart, looking for a clean one this time around. Chris Yatito following him in 2nd. Ewan Baker, Dean Moll, Hayden Kirk, Cam Dance, all in a good strategy position inside the fringes of the top 10. We pick up speed through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, 3 on the inside here, just trying to get a run as possible. I'm a bit confused with that top car, just really losing a lot of speed there, but we'll keep on riding on board with these top 3 here. Car 34, and look at this, Cam Dance. Just coming up and collecting one of the cars in the background there. Another 2 wide in the background. Riding on board with Dean Moll here in 10th. On the bottom here, trying to get a run onto these is that Baker in front? Yep, that's
Yeah,
Baker
Baker's
in front.
made the move through and up another spot on Ray Partridge. The rest of them are going to have to follow suit as well. Otherwise, they're going to let you and Baker through and into what would look like a pretty commanding lead. Cam Dance going to the inside on Mole here, and they try to send Mole.
There's contact. Dean Mole's dead.
Another yellow. Dean Mole just getting edged out to the outside and making contact with Hayden Kirk. The yellow flies again.
Cam Dance and Dean Mole being in an incident there. Dean Mole, look at the rear of that car. Just absolutely smashed in there. Here's the replay. Sim speed replay. And Cam Dance on the inside, washes up, tries to slow down, puts a little bit of power on. And yeah, a bit of contact there from the two. Dean Mole into the wall, and with, I think that's car 17 as well.
So there's 3 cars with meatballs out there. Dean Mole, Hayden Kirk, and Matt Chalker. This is Kirk trying to bring that thing around. Dean Mole is already on the pit lane. Matt Chalker is driving around behind the safety car waiting for pit lane to open. You know, Baker's gone up into 8th. Cam Dance has gone up into 10th. He made a lot of positions on a handful of drivers on that restart. This is what happened in front of... Oh, Chalker. He's either been hit from behind or lit up the rears and gone into the outside wall, but he was past the accident zone before that happened, Matt Chalker.
Yeah,
He's already a lap down.
Contact. Oh, yeah, look at that. Moves down. Bit of contact there with
Steele.
Yeah. Seems like all of our front road runners all race have been in the top 10 or in kind of like, what would you say, Haynes? Maybe 7th and a bit further back at the moment. It's kind of been all over the place now. Now it's end of line for Mookie as well.
Yeah, he's a lap down and he's entered pit lane with the rest. We've seen that happen before. We did spend the first sort of 80 laps of this race with our leaders staying out front and sort of longish gaps, sort of 30, 35 laps between cautions. But you can tell that they've been sort of every 10 laps we've had cautions. The leaders pitting, refilling with that, and a couple of drivers opting to stay out, cycling to the front that we still don't truly believe are contending, because it's 38 laps since the top 5 cars last pitted, and then you got Stevens only 9 laps after that in 6th place. Still looking at drivers like Baker, Dance, Hinds, and Bradbury, who's ended up on a really good strategy there as well. 4th on Baker and Dance's strategy.
Yeah, so more contact. Safety cars breed safety cars, as that saying gets thrown around for the second time now. So we've kind of went from a very clean race to everyone's getting the old elbows out. Ben Doughty in the lead. He's been in our top 10 all race so far, and he is going to be leading the field. Green again, lights are out.
Lights are off on the iRacing sedan. With beautiful styling, great fuel economy, and a futuristic interior, the iRacing sedan is the transportation of the future. For just $99 a month, you can lease one now. Lease deals available at your local iRacing dealer. It's led many laps, been out here many times, and how dependable it's been, and gracious every time as well. Ben Doherty's going to be practiced now with doing these restarts. I think this is his 3rd leading the field to the restart. Chris Yatito will have maybe worked him out by this point, and Jake Fox, again, from 2nd on the grid, was out of contention for a while, was very clever with using one of the yellows to get waved back around onto the lead lap, and then has timed his strategy with pitting well to cycle back up towards the front, but now might need a green flag stop for fuel if we're not careful. Going to be 40 laps since he last stopped. We're really backing it up, leaving a bit of space to the pace car through turn 4, which will then turn down into the lane. Ben Doherty with control, waits, And now the green flag waves. He gets no advantage, no jump on that. Cam Dance, though, is going to have a really good restart where he is in the field side by side with Partridge. Doty leads us to 1. Natito leads Jake Fox up high. Cam Dance on the low line, coming up to speed, will gain spots up into 9th. I think he's picked off 2 of them. Partridge lost out big time with the concertina effect on the restart. Ewan Baker in 8th. Now has Dance and Hins breathing down the back of his neck. Here's Stuart Elder in 5th with Dan Stevens behind. Stevens has got more fuel on board and fresher tyres. Elder holding on to that 5th, creating some sparks.
Yeah, it seems
Here
like
comes
that.
Baker.
Seems like Baker and Cam are going to work together here. So both on the inside here, trying to get a run on Gavin here. And Dance is just going to tuck back in. Baker gets a move done, so he's going to move on the... Oh, I thought Gavin would have given it a go there. Dance around the outside. And gets an awesome run there. He's not going to be side by side, but now he's side by side. Look at this. 2 zoom feeds. Thanks for these guys putting their zoom feeds in, because we get some awesome vision like this. With Cam Dance around the top. He's got some dirty air on the front of his nose, but so does Gavin. But Dance is going to keep this, but he's boxed in because of a teammate in front. So they're working together. So Dance is going to try and go low. Oh, he just stays behind. I thought there would have been a move done there, but they're going to keep going, and Baker gets another move.
Yeah, he's going to pick up another one. Kevin Barber's zoom feed just dropping out for a second there as he was battling side by side with Cam Dance, who looks to have completed the move. Stuart Elder beginning to drop a little bit here. His line through turn 2 is going to leave him vulnerable to Daniel Stevens. Ewan Baker's already through and up into 5th. Cam Dance, between the Middle Finger Racing teammates, is struggling to make the kind of progress he'd like. They're all going to have to battle Elder, who gets a slide. There's nose to tail contact. Dance picks the correct way, and he'll make up 2 spots as Middle Finger and Elder both drop spots. 3 wide through 1 and 2. Whole variation of tyre life, tyre strategy. Ray Partridge all the way up high, losing some spots. Robert Northway down against the apron will pick up a few positions. Ben Doherty with half a second over Chris Tito, Sam Harper and Jake Fox. Ewan Baker up into 5th. This is Dan Stevens' perspective with Partridge around the outside of him.
Love the simulator of Dan Stevens. Always seeing it on his on the broadcast with Scott supports he does, and obviously seeing him again on the end side. One of the cars go. Dan Stevens is going to run the top though, and looks like the car behind backs out of that. Dan Stevens is, and the car behind is Robbie Bradbury. So going on the inside there.
He's got a very fast steering rack. He doesn't need to move his hands much at all to make it around the corners here. Typically, you have a relatively slow steering rack for IndyCar because there's no power steering. So at full loads, to make it around and over like this, you actually want a bit more mechanical advantage. This is race leader Ben Doherty, now 46 laps since he last refueled. A lot of it's been behind the safety car, so he could really extend here. We think the magic critical lap could be lap 158 or lap 160, where you could stop and get to the end. I'm not sure Doherty's going that far. Yatito in 2nd has a wobble off at turn 4. Sam Harper is right with him. That's your top 3. Jake Fox in 4th, dropping back a little bit. And yeah, now Ewan Baker's going to go past him and into 4th.
Yeah, well, we'll see how long the tank goes here. It's about 60 laps is the longest we've seen from one of the fuel tanks we've seen. So it'll be interesting to see how far Dulcie goes here. But in theory, if it's 60, if he goes long as possible now, and then it's green flag to the end, he's on the optimal strategy, right? Like by far. But I mean, that's theory, right? A lot of theories. So we'll see what happens, but I'm sure we'll get another safety car. 2 wide out of turn 2 here, going up to 3. 2 wide, this is Northway on the inside, and with Hinsey, and Hinsey on the outside. It looks like that bottom line is starting to pick up now. It's not as slow as what it was before. Hins tucking in and having a good laugh to his teammates. You can see there with his microphone.
Yeah, cloud cover's come over. Track temps dropped to 29 Celsius. Remember, it was as high as sort of 35. So wow. The pace should be picking up. The ability to carry speed side by side through 1 and 2 should be picking up. Don't know how it's going to affect things through 3 and 4. There's the white line graph of track surface temperature. It has been dropping just a little bit lately. Already out to a 1 second lead. This is the battle on behind. Ewan Baker trying to move some spots up. Jake Fox dropping backwards pretty consistently the last 5 laps in this restart phase. Is it tactical? Or is that just where he's at? He just doesn't have the grip of everyone else. Cam Dance moves into the top 5, and a queue is forming behind Fox. Got Gavin Barber and Robert Northway that are next in position. You've even got the lap down car there trying to now get out of the way. Barber has a slide. Northway comes underneath him down towards turn 1.
Northway having a little wiggle there as well, so Northway's going to go under as well with Gavin. Gavin on the outside here. And
Harper's got a second ahead of your Tito as well, bottom of your screen. So that's second and third. Ewan Baker's catching them. Cam Dance catching them. The leaders for some time. Jake Fox up high with Gavin Barber inside through 3 and 4. Perfectly level. I favour the car on the outside to come out ahead of this, but Jake Fox just doesn't seem to get great traction.
Do remember though, Haynes, there is a tyre deficit we've seen with Jake Fox, so maybe he's just on a very old tyre at the moment, so maybe he's just waiting to pit. So it might be a bit until he boxes, but he's just going to have to struggle for now while all these guys are on some fresher tyres. Jake Fox still a 9th though, so it's never a bad thing when you're in the top 10. And then
Barber's under pressure. Robert Northway is right behind him. Yeah, Jake Fox with that track position, still, you know, a well-timed safety car is really good for you, but if we don't get that or it's poorly timed, then the stint length that he's on could be costly, especially Ben Doherty, Sam Harper, Chris Tito. So Tito's back ahead of Harper, and Ewan Baker's trying to go around the outside of Harper. Doesn't get left any room there. He wasn't really owed it, but he does get good speed towards 1 and 2, so he's got to either pick to go down low or force his opponent down low. Now Baker looks around up high here versus Harper, and now crosses back underneath. So Ewan Baker's into 3rd. Tito in 2nd seems to be struggling a little bit. Ben Doherty has clearly managed his tyres very well to be sort of 2.5 seconds ahead, but if Baker can get some clean air, he could hunt down the race lead pretty shortly. Got a bit high and wide off of turn 4 there, just lucky to stay out of the wall.
Yeah, Doty doing really well here, and Baker just covering so much ground at the moment, just really gapping a lot of the cars around him. He's just on that fresher tyre and he's just pushing really hard. But Tito, he's just falling back. He can't really keep with Dalty, so he's got no slipstream, so he can't follow. So he's really going to struggle here, Tito. He might just fall back quite a bit here. So there's a 3-car train here, so might fall back a couple of spots here. And Baker's got to be on the attack now.
Tito was really high through 1, turned down late through turn 2. Whereas Baker had far more confidence and maybe a little bit more grip to take a shorter line closer to the white line and the apron, and then also just slowly closing this one in. Lap times have gotten quicker again. They're into the low 29s. So there was a time that all anyone could do was 30.5. So an oval like this, incredibly track temperature sensitive. And we are really ratcheting up the pace, which means we're also going to be ratcheting up the fuel consumption if you're spending a lot more time at full throttle, not lifting out through 1 and 2, not rolling as early into 3 and 4. So how are Dance and Northway progressing? They move past Gavin Barber, but they're still going to need a little bit. This is these different lines through 1 and 2 playing out as Baker's looking for 2nd. What he needs is to be close enough with a good enough run into 3 and 4 that he pushes Tito onto a line that they're not comfortable with, and he can use his traction either up high or cut down underneath.
So Tito moving forward and not really taking the wrath from Baker yet, so they're kind of backing up everyone, so there's just going to be a bit of a cork in the bottle here. But Baker on the bottom here, and he should be able to get him here. Oh, Baker moving up. Oh, I thought there might have been a smidge bit of contact there, but Baker falling back in the line there.
Baker's going to look around the outside, but Tito sort of went middle of the road, tiny bit further back. Northway dropping back as Dance is catching. So Barber finding his strength again. Thomas Hinn stuck behind. Jake Fox has arrested his slide at 9th position. 48 laps to go. And Ewan Baker is just a little bit stuck. Here comes Dance.
So Dance right here on camera now. So Dance is he's had a bit of a rough race. He went from a very clean race to now being in the back of the field and moving back up. Baker back on the attack now. Look at this on the inside, trying to get this move done. He wants to move away because he knows Cam Dance is coming. Cam is just been just really bringing all these guys in. Baker, is he going to get it done on 3 and 4? Yes, he is. So he's going to move up and carry all the speed into turn 1 now.
He's finally close enough on the back straight to force Yutito onto a different line, who's cut back underneath him from turn 4. Cam Dance is 5th place. He's hunting both of them as a yellow comes out with 46 to go. Robert Northway has had a monumental accident as he was one of the drivers contending for the win. 46 laps to go. The caution flies with Ben Doherty in the race lead from Ewan Baker, Chris Yutito, Sam Harper and Cam Dance the top 5. Let's take a look. So ahead of Gavin Barber, Robert Northway off of turn 4, pushes a little bit too hard, has a snap, slides one way, locks it up and goes into the pit wall, brings out the yellow and brings himself out of the race.
He'll be furious with that. He knows how much speed he had in that race. He was one of probably the top 4 to 5 cars there, being really quick there. So Dulcie, we're probably going to see box now. We're 45 laps to go. So technically...
Don't you hate when your teammate is leading the race and your crash brings out a safety car that benefits them, and then next season Flavio Briatore fires you anyway?
I won't confirm or deny that for my team basis, but for real life, yes. But with all the fast repairs on screen now, Dalty hasn't used his, Baker hasn't used his, Yutito hasn't, Cam, so this will be...
Tom Hins has, so he's got to be careful as he pulls down in the pit lane because the attenuator's still there and he doesn't have a fast repair left. Everyone's coming in because we're past the critical lap number. Fuel up here and you will make it to the end of the race without another stop, no matter what the yellows do, no matter what the cautions do. This is your golden opportunity to go to the end. There's some end-of-line penalties from cars pitting that shouldn't, but for Ewan Baker, he needs this stop to be good. He lost some time in a previous stop and got jumped on pit lane. Has he hit his crew correctly to get out of here in time?
Yeah, so Dalty's had a good stop there. We can see him there in the blue car. Really good stop. Cam Dance is going to try
Baker's
and come
Doherty. So now it's shoe on the other foot. Ewan Baker is going to be the leader of this race. Long stop for Doherty, probably because he needed more fuel. And Chris Yutito as well. Yeah. I think it's 8 seconds to change tyres, 10 seconds for a full tank of fuel. Not normally much of a difference, but when you already had half a tank in like Baker and Ben Doherty, who was almost at the end of his fuel, maybe it makes the difference there in a race off of pit lane. There's the difference, just over a second. They came in nose to tail under the caution. Ewan Baker leads off. Hayden Kirk will be the race leader. Last stopped 26 laps ago. Jake Fox says he missed his pit box. And he is a little bit of nowhere in 15th place. How much extra was his lane time? About 4 seconds for Jake Fox. So Hayden Kirk, what is he doing? And Ewan Baker, is he well placed to lead this one?
Yeah, I think... Yeah, I'm just trying to think what these guys will have their, cards up there, up their sleeves. I think this will be the last time you need to come down into the pit lane for fuel. They're worried about tyres now. It will be a massive tyre game. So if there's maybe 10 laps to go, safety car comes out, they're all coming in. But if we go green, you just really need to look after your tyres now, because we've seen all race that if you push a little too hard, we've seen some of the best drivers, lose the cars. So it'll be interesting to see if what happens for these next 43 laps of the Motegi race. 200 laps around here and 43 laps to go. This will be a good one.
handful of cars got waved around the safety car there and will come towards the tail end of the train. Ryan Steele, Wayne Hutchison, Justin Morton, Julian Mookie will all be able to at least get one lap back. I think Steele remains still a lap down, but got one of them back. So for Hayden Kirk, I think he wants that safety car to come out again and then lead them all the way for all of the remaining laps. If that doesn't happen, I think Baker, Dowdy, Dance, Thomas Hins, those guys are going to eat him up. And Chris Yatito's benefited well from the timing of that safety car as well. So Doughty and Yatito are now both inside the top 5 on the same strategy as Dance and Baker. And Hayden Kirk will lead us to the restart. Safety car in, green flag will wave. Gee, they slowed down a lot coming out of turn 4. Hayden Kirk picks up the speed heading towards turn 1 and 2, but no crash results of it. It creates a little bit of space in the field as they get back up to speed. I think Ewan Baker will be trying to move by Kirk for the race lead as quickly as he can.
Yeah, I've got no doubt in my mind he wants to be around him instantly. But we'll see where Kirk, look at the speed difference. Look at this. This is Baker on the inside, and I reckon he's going to pass him before turn 2, I reckon. So here's the inside. Baker on the inside. You can see the Scottish helmet there, and Baker right down the inside. He's already got it done, and look at this. Dalty straight through with him, his teammate. Kiwi Sim Racing.
Qualified 28th, and I just don't think he's got the pace or the confidence to hang with this. So we'll see what kind of position he stays in, but he's offering the inside line and a lot of space to everyone. Baker goes through, Doughty goes through. Well, there's a touch there for Yatito. He's got damage. He spins down to the apron, keeps it off the wall. We stay green. We stay green with Ewan Baker leading the race.
I saw that from a mile. I just saw Dance coming like a bullet. Yatito needed to slow down, obviously, because we had Kirk there being on a massive tyre offset. So Dance has just rolled in through, and Yatito's just slowed down, and we've had a bit of collision there. Here's a replay. We're riding on board with Ken Dance, 600. So,
So Yatito cuts down low and then needs to slow up a lot in the corner. So he had a lot of speed in and then probably needed to roll a little bit of brake. Dance wasn't expecting that. Dance turned in from a wider line carrying more speed. They both met at the apex at different speed. Dance might have a tiny bit of damage. Yatito seems to have carried on. Sam Harper in 4th, with Thomas Hins, Hayden Kirk and Gavin Barber behind. Hins is looking around the outside here on Sam Harper for 4th place. Hayden Kirk beginning to flex his muscles a little bit, isn't giving Gavin Barber anything for free. Hins can't get around the outside there, but we'll try and try once again. But you've got a top 3 breakaway of Ewan Baker, Ben Doherty and Cameron Dance. Thomas Hins doesn't want to see them get too far away.
No, he definitely doesn't, because Hinsy's had some really good pace all race, besides hitting that barrier earlier on. So really moving up through the field now. So he is up into 4th place. This top 4 here, I really think we need to keep our eye on. So 38 laps. Let's see how we go. But I'm surprised we didn't get a safety car. That was good car control by Tito there. So we'll see if he can recover the car and see if he doesn't have that much damage. But that was a big hit. So I'm surprised those 2 cars are still going massively. And look at that, sideways.
Yep, for Ray Partridge. So he's going to lose out here. He's got Jason Lottridge and Garen Batten going past him in this trio of teammates with Stuart Elder as well, who stopped underneath that last safety car. So Elder's back on the conventional strategy as well.
I feel like with these Fusion cars, they've always been together. You just see them...
Yellow flags with 35 to go. What's brought this out this time around? Oh, it's one of the Fusion cars, and it's Yatito. Maybe he did have more damage. We'll take a look.
Yeah, this really sucks for him.
Wayne Hutchison also has a meatball flag. I wonder if those 2 are related.
Let's watch the rear of his car here. I reckon the rear steps out on him. Yeah, there's a wobble, and there it goes again. Oh, he catches that like 3
and there's
times.
Hutchison.
Yeah, he catches it 3 times there too. Seriously, that is good car control from you, Tito. That was insane. Because you could see the car snap mid-corner, snap on the exit, and then snap again. It just would have been that back right wheel just being out of alignment by, centimetres. It wouldn't have been that much. So unfortunately there for Chris. We'll see if he's got a fast repair. Here's another replay. Chris does. Chris Tito has a pit fast repair. So yeah, look at this. This was the first save he had. So great car control from the American, really showing he's car control. So he's got to go and get this car replaced and be out in the track and go again.
Yeah, he's catching the field and he's going to wait for the pit lane to open properly. So that'll keep him on the lead lap. By doing that, he will be perhaps the last car on the lead lap. First car off the lead laps, Ryan Steele in 22nd. And I don't think the leaders are going to pit again. So I don't think Ryan Steele's going to get waved around, not the least because he's actually coming onto the pit lane. He stayed out last caution to get waved around. He's got to come in this one, followed by Justin Morton, Julian Mookie, Hayden Kirk, and Michael Hogg also coming in. Here's Chris Tito looking for his pit crew as Wayne Hutchison is getting the damage repaired as well. That's cleared for Hutchison. And Tito also gets full repairs completed.
There's been some really big contenders being hit out of this race. Hutchison being one of those in the incident, and Chris. So that was really two big heavy hitters. Here's another replay. Oh my God, look at that contact. Look at the front nose there. All bent up, and look at the steering, instantly dead. Instantly gone. So Hutchinson with a full replaced car. And magically it's like that. Look at that. Imagine if cars were fixed like that in real life.
Yeah, it's towing has put Hutchison a lap down. I think he already was some amount down.
Oh.
Already used his fast repair and that thing is no good at all.
Yeah,
you can't race that. You can't race that. He'll be coming in again.
No, I don't think you could. From the looks of it on the outside, I thought, oh, the car's fully fixed. No, car's still broken. So, unfortunate there.
So Ewan Baker leads the race. Cam Dance is toddling around offset. Lights go off 1.5 miles away from restarting. That'll be lap 169 with 32 to go. Having stopped 11 laps ago, all of these drivers are good on fuel to make it to the end, and we're not seeing enough of a tyre difference that you'd take that and drop to 20th. You just wouldn't get that amount of positions back.
Yeah, you'll never really get these positions back this late on to the race. Track has come down massively, 21 degrees. So this is the coldest we've seen the track all... 32 degrees, sorry. I was looking at air temp. But 32 degrees, so it's actually still warm. Nothing crazy though, but it's probably the coldest we've seen all race. Dave, you'd probably agree with that?
Oh yeah, it got down to 28. Dan Stevens has actually just been collected by Brian Scrivener under caution. I don't think too much damage done, but there was just a bit of a check-up on the back straight. Ewan Baker, of course, is going to want to check the field up a little bit as he's about to get going again. Ben Doherty staying a couple of tenths of a second back, a couple of car lengths back, in fact. Not sure Cam Dance would be entirely thrilled about that. Green flag waves. We go racing, and Ewan Baker has a couple of car lengths in his back pocket. Doherty's got to worry. We don't go back green. Adam Johnson's around.
Instantly safety car. But it's all going to... Adam Johnson around. Recollecting the car. And needs repairs for the car. Yeah, look at that front right wheel. Absolutely gone. Holding on by a string of hair there.
Not to be cruel, but if cars that are a lap down cause a caution, shouldn't we just leave them to suffer the consequences? That's under caution, just a tiny nudge. I think both got away with that.
Yeah, so you have rear damage because of that. We're on the Penske rear clip here as well. That's what I'm going to call it.
I think it put a scuff on the nose for Scrivener, but I don't think it would have done that much.
Oh, these cars are really sensitive in the rear. Like, you'd be shocked. It would probably maybe not. In slow speed, it could be okay. Let's just see what happens here. Does the rear go? I'm feeling the rear's going to go.
Well, it wasn't. Yep. Johnson's just snapped it around. It was Daniel Stevens who got run into. Johnson, I think, has just done that himself. So fun pit strategy stuff. I think Ewan Baker has pitted 5 times in this race. And Shane Bowen is up to 9, and Gary Batten is up to 9 or something like that. So you got the drivers that sort of pitted when they needed to and stayed out the rest of the times, versus the drivers who pitted every single caution is leaving us a massive offset. Michael Hogg, I think, has pitted every time. Do we have a pit stop count on Michael Hogg? We'll take a look. So unlimited tyre sets. Michael Hogg has pitted 12 times this race.
12 times is a lot, but he's done well.
So this is Stevens in front of us. We're on board with Scrivener, and this is under caution. It's nothing, really, but
kind of picks up the rear of the car. Actually, if you saw that, it kind of just bounced up a little bit.
I think he got his nose underneath the rear tire almost at those speeds. It just sort of climbed up over it. Not sure what Bendotti's doing. I guess he paid for the whole Motegi. He's going to use the whole Motegi. Ewan Baker is still our race leader. The yellow lights are still on the safety car. No one's going to get waved around, so that actually shortens the time of this yellow just a tiny bit. Dance in 3rd, Hinz in 4th, Harper in 5th. Who's been some big movers?
I was going to say, race? For a big mover, I think Thomas Hinz is a big one.
16th to 4th.
Yeah, that's a really big one. Bottom right, actually, we can see here. Jason, 03, he up 17 positions. That is massive, especially on ovals. There's probably a lot of viewers that probably not used to ovals as much. But yeah, 17 positions is a lot. Even in road course racing, that's a lot. So yeah, that's awesome to see.
Yeah, he's 26th on the grid to 9th. Stuart Elder is 23rd to 10th. And then, Jake Fox is 22nd to 13th.
29 laps to go. I'm trying to think in my head. If you boxed on the last safety car, you'd be in a very good spot at the moment. You'd be in a very, very good spot because no one's boxed. But I'm wondering if everyone's waiting till maybe we get a safety car right at the end and then get a box. But here's all the stats.
The closer we get to the checkered flag, the more I'm inclined to stay out. So you've got the whole top 18 of the field stopped 15 laps ago on lap 156, and then Hayden Kirk in 19th just stopped, so he's 5 laps into his stint. So I guess Hayden Kirk's the one to watch to see if 10 laps is enough of a tyre advantage to be able to gain some spots. Otherwise, the whole top 18 are on the same strategy. They're headed for a restart that will be 28 to go when Ewan Baker takes the green flag, which is now. He accelerates. The single file field speeds up and then slows back down again. For the second time in a row, the start gets waved off. Someone spinning around. It's Jason Lottridge. So he's now going to drop out of that most positions gained thing.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it was the most moved car in that whole field, and now he's right at the back and massive damage. I think that the rear wheel is actually bent as well, looking as well. So the front left is completely gone, but have another look at replay. This is just pure wheel spin. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that was a quick. That's a very quick accident. It wasn't Normally they're a lot slower, but the car switched straight. It kind of gripped up midway in the crash, and it was like, okay, we'll go forward now.
Lottridge still has another fast repair, so Lottridge will be back in this race eventually. Crazy the kind of speed that you can do with a front left wheel missing, 3 wheels on your wagon, and you're going faster than a Toyota Camry ever has.
Hey, don't knock the Toyota Camrys. We love the little.
I'm just saying it's crazy how you're like, okay, 300 kilometers an hour is a normal speed for these cars. So when you have a flat tire, you back it down to just 200. I would never drive my road car at 200 k's an hour with the flat tire. I would do 40 on a flat tire.
I think I'd do 20. I don't even think you'd do 40.
urgently you're trying to get out of the middle lane of the motorway or something. But, you know, speed is so relative that occasionally you need to think the fact that, like, actually with a damaged front left suspension, it is insane to do even 100 k's an hour, whereas these guys are getting around to catch the safety car at 200.
Yeah, I mean, even if you go a little bit further into that conversation, you've got, you know, we see these guys race head to head, side by side at 300 kilometers an hour, and it doesn't look like that on the broadcast, or even in real life. You just don't see it. You can't vision that speed until one of these drivers look down and go, "Oh, I'm doing 320 kilometers an hour," which is just mental.
So Jason Lottridge has reached the tail end of the pack, waiting for the pit lane to open. I'm sure he'll come in this lap around, and I suspect that will put him the last car on the lead lap in 21st place. Poor Ryan Steele, Justin Morton and Julian Mookie are not going to be able to get a lap back at any point between now and the end, because everyone in front of them on the lead lap will be staying out, or at least most of them will, for every conceivable possible remaining caution. Front left is still flapping around. On a 2 a.m. on a Saturday night, you see someone dancing like that.
I was going to say, if you saw me moving like that, you'd be a bit scared.
So he's going to come in, and checked, he does have the ability to fix that. And here's Michael Hogg for his 13th pit stop. The yellow flies, Michael Hogg pits. Oh, and then Jason Lottridge has overshot his pit stall. Not that it's going to matter, because we're still under caution. He'll still be the last car on the lead lap. But it has actually maybe cost him one piece of track position to Michael Hogg. It has cost him a position to Michael Hogg.
Yeah, overshooting those boxes, it's very critical to get those right. Losing half a second is massive in oval racing. You want to nail them every time. Yeah, like I remember I've practiced pit entries more than I've done laps sometimes for events. I think of tracks like Ivor and Dover that you really need to practice for those entries. So we're going to go green here, and 25 laps to go.
Yeah, or 45 minutes. So if it was yellow the whole way, we'd run out of time before we cross the laps. But I don't think that's going to happen. Ewan Baker with Ben Doherty, Cameron Dance, the top three, headed towards another restart for Major Series International Region, Japan Indy 300. The leaders get away cleanly. Does everyone else get away cleanly to start lap 178? Here we go. Here's the moves towards turn 1 and 2. 2 lanes in effect as we get up to speed, and the Honda Indy V8s roar up towards 11,000 RPM. Darren Batten not getting a great run off turn 2 in 8th position. Cameron Dance is up into 2nd. They're battling through 3 and 4 for those podium spots. Now Dance drops back. He had an optimistic dive on Doherty, and now he's going to, out of turn 4, try to cross him up again. Ewan Baker holds that race lead, but Cameron Dance will not let Ewan Baker get away. He wants to be a part of this fight again through 1 and 2.
Yeah, try to go low there again, but he's had to run high, so you'll have a great run up to 3 here. Doherty trying to cover, tries to cover. Cam's going to go on the top now, so Cam Dance is going to be on the top, so he's going to have a great run down to turn 1. Wonder if he's still got any damage. We haven't seen him blocked since that contact. So we have just got information that he is fine. So
Thomas Hinds behind him, now going to apply some pressure. Dance has had a couple of laps to try to make a move and up into 2nd, and he hasn't been able to do it. Got in really deep and wide through 3 and 4 last time around. Thomas Hinds senses an opportunity. Here they are side by side. The 2 opposite postures. One of them reclining. One of them looks like he's standing before the judge there, Thomas Hinds. Hopefully he doesn't have to do that, as it's going to be 4 drivers battling for 3 spots on the podium. Ewan Baker is back under pressure because as they've got up to speed, the slipstream effect has come in. Doherty, Dance and Hinds have caught Baker. Dance moves up high to get some clean air onto his nose. Heading onto the back straight, he's going to try to carry some speed. Doherty's looking for an inside line and clean air on his nose versus Ewan Baker. Baker starts up high, moves down to an apex against the apron through turn 4, and he's smooth. Dance up, raising the wall. similar for Doherty, a problem. So Dance now chops to the inside, side by side for second place. Dance is all the way clear. Dance could move up if he wanted to, and he's just a car length behind Ewan Baker, but he doesn't. Doherty has an opportunity to come back underneath him. Dance surely has to get out of the throttle there. Thomas Hinz is watching the fight unravel in front of him. Baker takes a defensive position. Dance all the way around the outside on the high line, has no overlap, pushes just a little bit wide, massive slide from Doherty, and your top four are in 4 car lengths, 0.3 of a second, crossing the start-finish line, heading into turn 1. Baker doesn't know how to defend this.
Yeah, Baker's trying to help his teammate here. You can see him trying to pull him around, but Doherty's getting a bit of dirty air, but you can see Baker's moving up on the exits to try and give Dance dirty air, and then pull Doherty along, but Cam Dance is up the inside. He's made a move side by side, and he's going to make it stick, I reckon. But Dance is going to not have the best exit compared to Baker here. Baker down to turn 1 around the outside, but I think Cam Dance has got this.
Hinz is through into third. Now Hinz is looking down the inside for second here as well. It takes some of the options away from Baker as far as what line he could take. Dance had all the options, but Baker gets a great exit, heading towards 3. He's got to make a decision. We're going to go yellow again, I reckon. And we do. There's a crash on the back straight. Teammates come together. Garen Batten with massive damage, and then Jake Fox needs repairs as well.
That is awesome timing for Cam Dance there.
Yatito and Batten coming together as Batten spun off the inside wall.
I reckon we might see pit stops here. This will be a gamble.
Well, from the damaged cars we're going to, I think Dance, Baker, Doherty will probably stay out. So it's a case of touching the apron. There's a check-up. Fox then gets hit, and then Fox sends him down into the inside wall. And then the damaged car comes back up onto the racetrack. That's a yellow. Yatito drives square into the side of Batten. So Fox is going to have to pit. He's 10th on track.
Did Fox's wing come back all of a sudden, or did we miss a pit stop? So it's... looks like it's come back. So here's actually the Penske cam. Onto the back straight now. Oh, look at that. Look at the contact. Now, it should come back in about 5 seconds, and boom.
Yeah, so the checkup is Batten gets the apron, he slides, Fox has to slow down to not drive into the back of him, but then Fox gets driven into the back of. With the damage, Fox slides down into Batten, who hits the inside wall, bounces back up. The yellow is called, and Yatito pulls out from behind one of his teammates and drives into, or was it from behind Partridge and into another one of his teammates? No, this is Batten. Touches the apron, has a slide, loses all of his momentum. Fox behind has a checkup, gets hit, and then might not have actually been a second bit of contact there, but there was already some damage.
There's Chris right there. Planes him right up, and Tito just couldn't go anywhere.
Tito's already used his fast repair, so it's going to be a long repair for him. Batten, I think, similar. At the time that the yellow flew, Cam Dance was the race leader. He was going back and forth with Ewan Baker, and just the timing of that yellow means Cameron Dance, who I don't think has led a restart of this race since like lap 30, is the race leader again. It's going to be 15 to go. Here's a different perspective. So Yatito has got Fusion cars in front of him.
There's Mulkey on the outside as well. We'll keep an eye on him. Oh my god.
You could see it the whole time from that camera. He just thought that car was going to stay down on the apron, but it had no wheels on it to stop it spinning back up onto the racetrack.
I can see why Chris stays there. So we've actually got an inboard cam in the iCam. So let's have a look. Can you see it? Oh no, he can't see
the smoke.
He can see smoke, but I as a driver, I don't. Yeah, I mean his teammates slowed down in front of him. So just trying to think, if he might have thought he would have stayed down there, to be honest. Maybe he's just thinking about the cars in front though, really. 15 laps to go when we go green here, so tyres are going to be worn. They're not going to be not going to be great. So this will be an interesting restart. 15 laps to go.
Hulk's got an end of line penalty, but he's still on the lead lap, so I don't know what mistake he's made that's given him that penalty. He drops in behind Chris Tito, who's back out on track but hasn't cleared the meatball. Jake Fox is 18th, has Cam Dance, Ewan Baker, Ben Doherty, Thomas Hinz, Shane Bowen up into the 5th position is the order that we're going to restart. And Dance doesn't hang about. As soon as the pace car comes in, he mashes the throttle. We're going. Chris Tito back on lane again, but he waited too long to clear the meatball flag. Now he's got a black flag. Oh, Chris Tito is going to lose out big time from that one. Here's Thomas Hinz, 4th place, right behind Doherty, heading onto the back straight, picking up speed, watching what Baker and Dance are doing for the race lead ahead. We're not yet up to the total pace where the slipstream is going to be most noticeable. It's coming off at turn 4 this time, where we're going to be full racing speed. Cam Dance has a 6/10 of a second lead. Hinz has a great exit. Doherty doesn't. Ewan Baker's going to hold on to that second. Shane Bowen in 5th just behind. So it's too wide for 3rd place through 1 and 2. Hinz up high.
Yeah, Hinz is going to try and run the top. I think that top's starting to lose a little bit of pace in mid-corner now. We haven't seen it being excellent, but Hinz still holds on here. Going to drop low and actually try and get a move done. We can see there, he's trying to have a look. Shane Bowen on board now. Coming out of 4. Now, look at this. He can just see everything in front of him. This is what you want as a driver. You just want to be able to see everyone in front of you and just be able to control what you can do here. So he's just going to sit there nice and comfortable. So Ben Doherty, Thomas Hinz and Baker in 2nd. And then we've got Cam Dance just leading at about a 6/10 lead at the moment.
Super quick last lap from Baker, 29.2, with only 2/10 of a second away from being the fastest lap of the race. So with the tyres in a nice temperature window, there's a big slide from Doherty. And Shane Bowen behind in 5th. Yeah, he's seeing how close they are, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, just keeping a car length or 2 back. Dance still with a 6/10 of a second lead. If Baker can take a comfortable line through 3 and 4, I think he'd be able to close it up. But he's still got to go half a car length down to the inside and towards 3 to fend off Thomas Hinz. He doesn't do that. Hinz will throw his nose in, almost make contact. Baker has to avoid and move a lane up. Hinz gets down the inside. We go yellow again. And
massive contact. Another fusion car into it. And we've got a middle finger. Yeah, Elder in the wall, and this team's really been really in the walls for these last couple of laps with the fusion cars. So really unfortunate for those guys. They've been having a really good race. So it's unfortunate that all these guys have been just getting in some unfortunate accidents.
Great timing from Hinz. He was 2nd when the yellow flew. So Hinz moves up. No. Maybe. We're going to see who actually is ahead between Baker and Hinz.
I think it might be Hinz.
I think it was Hinz.
This is a bit of an interesting one, isn't it, Dave? You've got Hinzy, who's, would you say, a bit of an Indy car? Oh, here we go, another replay. So
it's 3 wide. Elder gets hit from behind as he checks up because he didn't want to be piggy in the middle.
Hey, car goes absolute flying in the air there. But yeah, he doesn't want to be in the middle, but it's just another domino effect. I think the one thing we've learnt tonight is about domino effect, really, with ovals. It's really someone checks up and then everything else happens. So we've got the 115 trying to squeeze the 37. Nice and low, and that's Kirkwood.
Stevens in the 3. Makes a tap, and then Tilson goes for a ride straight to the wall and gets a whole heap of damage from it. So there's meatballs out for Batten still, but for Craig Tilson and Stuart Elder, don't know how much Stevens will have picked up. This is on board with Tilson heading down towards turn 3, car in the outside wall. You just don't know which way it's going to go.
Yeah, you really can't do much there. I don't think you could predict. I mean, you wouldn't want to go low because he hasn't went up further enough up on the track. And then if you go up, you've got a chance of dying. So it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one.
So off of 2, we're riding on board with Dan Stevens. It becomes 3 wide in front of him. Kirk goes low. Stuart Elder is in the middle. Sure, Elder gets your 3 wide call right here, and he backs out early because he knows he can't go up high, but he knows he also can't go down low. So he's wary about how much speed he wants to carry into the corner, and just gets that tap from Dan
Especially being a
Stevens from behind.
teammate. Especially being a teammate on the outside, you kind of don't want to be rude to your teammate, but you haven't really checked in the mirror what's going on yet. Yeah, you can see Lift instantly just gets hit. Especially with the speed these guys are doing, like, it's just tiny little stuff that causes these accidents. It's not big issues. It's just little stuff that these guys will learn and carry over to the next race. So yeah, unfortunate for Elder there. That was trying to be nice, but at the end of the day, this race has been interrupted by that little incident. But Elder's back out on the track, so that's good to see him back out on the track and in 20 seconds. So, and he's actually a lap down, so that'll be
because he couldn't drive it back. I don't think he had to tow it, and I think that automatically puts you a lap down in these situations.
Yeah, 100% it will do. So 8 laps to go, so he probably won't get that back. So he'll just have to help his teammates out as much as he can. Cam Dance leading the field, 8 laps to go. Predictions, Dave?
My prediction right now is it's a 50-50 chance if we go green from this restart to the checkered flag. It'll be 7 to go when Cameron Dance crosses the green flag. He's got Thomas Hinds and Ewan Baker behind him, 2 guys that he knows very well, has raced many times in majors and other championships. So I think this top 3 will race each other fair, but they will race each other very, very hard. Thomas Hinds would love to have a win over Baker and Dance. Dance goes early towards the green flag. He crosses the start-finish line to give us 7 laps to go at Motegi. Japan Indy 300 for Major Series International as they get up to speed through flat out turns 1 and 2. It strings the field out how early Cam Dance has gone. You've got to look a bit deeper in the field to find some wheel-to-wheel battling. This is one of them. Dwayne Burns versus Hayden Kirk, 10th and 11th. Kirk is going to look to the inside on Burns for a top 10, heading down towards turn 3, braking, carrying so much speed into 3, pushing up a little bit through 4. Burns tries to come underneath him through the exit of 4, and they're side by side with 6 laps to go. Cam Dance still leads.
That was a great move there, getting under him. Just really setting up the exit there, not really focusing on the entry. He was worrying about the exit and got an awesome move there. So from the Dog Bear car there.
Ryan Steele's leader of the cars on the lead lap. He's now ahead of Jake Fox, who dropped back and got really caught out on the restart. Fox just behind 2-3 cars back on that low line. And up front here, Hinds from Baker. Doherty getting a pretty good restart. Thomas Hinds with a new fastest lap of the race on the first flying lap since the restart. It's overcast, it's quick, and there's just a couple of laps to go if they're going to stop Cam Dance. Is he going to bring out the snake, the serpent? Is he going to start weaving to try to break the gap to Thomas Hinds, who's just a couple of tenths behind and closing as they get up to speed? Hinds is best placed to challenge Cam Dance because Ewan Baker's defending from Doherty and Bowen.
Yeah, I think Baker's going to let Doherty go. So it actually might be Doherty that comes up shortly if the teammates work together, but Hinsey is just on fire at the moment. Cam's got no slipstream in front of him, of course, having no cars in front of him. So this is just going to be a really interesting fight here. 4 laps to go. Look at Hinsey trying to get some clean air on his front. Cam's trying to give him all the dirty air as possible. You could see him really coming up on the track to really give him all the dirty air as possible. So we'll see Cam Dance pull out all the tricks that he knows from all the championships he's won and all the races he's won. This will be a really good fight in the end.
Hinds half a car low coming out of turn 2, looking to carry speed down towards 3 and 4. Couple laps into this stint. Tyre temperature will be coming up. Grip will be going away from them a little bit. Even if the track's as cool as it's been all race, Hinds gets a good line off 4 to stay a car length behind Cameron Dance and to continue to make him have to fight and defend. The lap times are the fastest we've seen all race right now, and Hinds is looking for a line and a way to attack Cam Dance for the race win at Motegi. Off of 2, he's right in the slipstream. Dance heading halfway down the racetrack, giving Hinds the option. Hinds says, I'll go up high, carrying speed into 3, try to turn back underneath you through 4. It's what Hinz looks to do, heading towards the white flag. 1.5 miles of Motegi left to go, and Cam Dance cannot rest easy. He's on a tight line into turn 1. Well, Hinz starts up high and will look to bring it back down with as much speed as possible onto the back straight. It's all about the line and the run through turns 3 and 4. Dance all the way down to the apron to defend. Hinz is going to look for the inside, but Dance turns from up high down to the apron, protects his track position. It's about traction towards the checkered flag, and the yellow will fly as the checkered flag does. Cam Dance wins from Thomas Hinz. Dwayne Burns is hard into the wall. They all race to the checkered flag, but Dance has held off Thomas Hinz, and immense pressure to win Majors Series Japan Indy 300 at Motegi.
That was an awesome fight at the end. I thought I'd just be quiet and enjoy that battle. That was sensational. You could see, knowing Cam, you could see him really on that weight jacker. He's using his shifter as his weight jacker, just really trying to get as much straight line out of the straights as possible, trying to flatten the car. And then in the corners, just maxing it at the front. You can see him just clicking it so many times. You could actually see him on the steering wheel, just bang, 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 looking down, trying to figure out where he was. So yeah, that was awesome from Cam. Congrats to him. And
he's got fuel and tyres left. He's going to leave them on the pit straight. It's shuckers in the air, and it's donuts on the ground for Cam Dance.
He definitely knows he's on the camera, doesn't he? Well done to Cam. But yeah, Hinzy gave him an awesome fight there. That was seriously good to watch, and well done to Thomas Hinz there.
I choose to believe that he just throws up a shuckers at every possible opportunity. Opens the fridge. Oh, there's one more beer than I thought. Shuckers. Now, this is Dwayne Burns. You've got Hayden Kirk behind. The 35 on the inside. So around the outside, he's thinking there's going to be more space than there is. And that was on the very, very final lap into turn 1. Ryan Steele goes the high side and manages to dodge. Let's look at our results now. 200 laps, 300 miles of Motegi completed. Came down to a 7-lap final stint shootout. Cam Dance held off Thomas Hinz with some great defensive maneuvers using the whole width of the track. Thomas Hinz didn't quite know which way to go, and then when he went around the outside, he didn't get the run to the checkered flag. Ewan Baker holding on for that podium in a tough fight with Ben Doherty and Shane Bowen. Look how close they are, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Sam Harper in 6th with Gavin Barber 7th, Ray Partridge in 8th, Robbie Bradbury in 9th, and Hayden Kirk getting 10th. It was Robbie Bradbury who was on the inside of Dwayne Burns on that final lap as they battled inside of the top 10. Dan Stevens got 11th with Jason Lottridge in 12th, Robert Deloach 13th, Jake Fox 14th, Michael Hogg 15th, and the Most Pit Stops Award, that's an award sponsored by David Haynes. Phil Otto 16th, last car on the lead lap. Dwayne Burns with towing after the last lap crash is scored as the first car 1 lap down ahead of Julian Mookie, Ryan Steele, and Stuart Elder in 20th. Brian Scrivener in 21st from what I can see, and then Justin Morton also 1 lap down. Adam Johnson 3 laps back, Matt Chalker 3 laps back, Chris Iotito 4 laps back, Wayne Hutchison 8 laps back, Craig Tilson 12 laps, Garen Batten 17, Robert Northway, Dean Moll, Timothy Klaus, and Craig Hawkins looking retired. In fact, everything from Tilson backwards kind of looks like they're retired at the end of that one. Joseph Homan never took the start.
That was seriously a good race to watch, Dave. That was a very good oval race to watch, and it looks
Green
like
flag laps were pretty good, I have to say. Of the 200 laps, about 170 of them were super exciting to watch. The cars could race close enough, but it wasn't, the slipstream is a slam dunk to give you an overtake type of thing. So let's get to our podium now, and we'll go first to 3rd place, Ewan Baker. Ewan joins us. Well, strategy all over the place. You're at the front, you're in the back, but with a fuel advantage. You were back up the front. What did you need to have more pace in the final stint?
Honestly, it just left too much downforce bolted on the car. I was equal parts hoping for it to get a bit hotter because I knew Cam was running quite a lower downforce setup, which I noticed earlier in the race. But Also, a little bit of just nervousness around running lower downforce. I like the safety and stability, and considering I've had pretty shocking results on oval so far this season, I just wanted a good finish. So, yeah, I didn't have the pace at the end for Thomas and Cam, sadly, but yeah, it was still absolutely awesome, and I'm delighted with third.
Plenty of lanes in play through turns 1 and 2 and through turns 3 and 4. What's the feeling like racing sort of side by side in those situations, and I guess playing the chess game to tactically place your opponent where you can then place yourself to try to outdo them?
Yeah, it's surprisingly good. These are cars I haven't had the opportunity to drive before, so I was shocked at how well they race in very close quarters. There's not too much aero wash to speak of, and yeah, you can really get along side by side nicely. It was a bit of a chess match, and just car positioning is, I mean, unless your name's Cam Dance or Thomas Hines, you can't really dive up the inside and make a pass stick. So for me at least, it was a lot more of just picking the spot and trying to nip low on corner exits. So yeah, it was good to sort of exercise the brain a bit while you're doing 200 mile an hour around a track.
Yeah, it's holistic. It's mind and body. So, Kiwi Sim Racing, bunch of drivers in this race. What do you get from each other? Is it sort of once we're in the race, we're all on our own islands, or are you sort of communicating strategy, communicating tips, racecraft? What's the go?
Yeah, we're all in a voice call together, and we've got pretty solid teamwork throughout. We're all looking out for each other and wanting the best results for each other. Have to give a big shout out to Robert Northway as well. Not sure what happened to him, but I know he ran into trouble towards the end. But he was plugging away on setups for weeks coming into this, and he really sort of gave us a mighty car to fight with. So, a big thank you to him, and yeah, another great result for the team. The goal is the team's championship, and we think we've extended our lead in that. So, absolutely successful night, and yeah, delighted for all the boys.
I know you're a really big fan of pace laps and extended cautions, so I'm sure you'll be delighted to know that of the 2 hours 45 minutes scheduled for this race, we managed to get it in 2 hours 19.
Not too bad. I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a shame to see the cautions come out towards the end there. Although then again, I was leading at that point, so I was thinking, oh, just somebody just spin every restart. That'd be quite nice. Give me an easy win. But yeah, no, it's all in all pretty good for an oval, and especially this car. Going in practice leading up to this, it was quite sketchy at times, especially coming off turn 4. The car just wants to spit you into the nearest wall. So I was expecting quite a few cautions, and honestly was pretty good all the way around. Got some awesome green flag racing in, and yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I can't rate this high enough.
Well done. You come away with a podium. You led some laps. You were a strategy leader at various points, so we won't hold you too long, so you can go back to managing your pub. And who helps you, who supports you, and who do you want to thank?
Massive thank you, as always, to the team at Kiwi Sim Racing, and big shout out to the sponsors, Speed Nation, InspireNet, Scott Technology, and Shearwater Studios. Again, big thank you to Robin Northway for all the hard work that he puts in, and yeah, shout out to the other boys in the team that got a really awesome result. It's fantastic night all around.
All right, thanks, Ewan. Catch you around.
Thank you.
We'll go to second on the podium. Thomas Hins is going to be with Connor Nixon.
Hey, Thomas, you had an awesome race there, mate. Did you expect that in the end to be fighting for the lead there?
No. I haven't done oval in a very, very long time. And obviously last time I raced these was the last majors race of this at this track, like 3 years ago, and it was. So I was just like, look, if I can get a top 10 or a top 5, that would be amazing. So to actually be on the podium and actually fighting Cam at the end was awesome. Was not expected, but yeah, it was great fun to get to dual Cam again. It's been a long time. We don't get to race. We race in different series a lot, I think, now, unfortunately, so I don't get to race Cam very much. But it was good to fight him. Yeah, he's so much fun to battle. Races you really hard, super fair though. Yeah, it was good to rekindle some memories of fighting a legend like Cam.
Yeah, 100%. It was really good to see you guys at the end there really fight. But I want to really take you back. Like at the start of the race, you were in 15th. Qualifying didn't really go your way, but yeah, you worked your way through the field. You really did what you needed to do. You kept the car clean, stayed out of a lot of accidents. So it was seriously a good race for you. Did you find the car was good? We were talking to Baker and he said his car had too much downforce. Do you think you had a good little setup there going for a bit, or do you think it was more of a grid and go kind of setup?
Well, I have to give entirely of my thanks, and really the entire result. I have to give this entire race to Daniel Stevens. I stole the setup off him at gunpoint. No, I asked Stan to help with. He does stuff with obviously HJR, and we sort of do some stuff with MFR a little bit. We do races sometimes with enduros if we need drives and stuff. We'll sort of do some stuff together like that. So I just asked Dan if he didn't mind helping me with setup for this one, because obviously it's not one I normally do, and he was happy to help. So really, it's all Dan. I have to give massive thanks to Dan. He's a legend of a guy. He's one of my favourite people in the sim community. To be honest, he's just amazing. And yeah, the setup was incredible, so good. So big thanks to Dan. The car was just a rocket, and got better as the race went on. The more track gripped up, the better it got, frankly. So yeah, so big thanks to Dan for that one, I think.
Did you find with the temperature it was a bit of an issue at the start, and then you kind of got more comfortable, or did you find that the temperature was because we noticed through the race it went from 38 degrees to all the way down to your 28 at the end there. So was it hard at the start there?
Yeah, well, I think it was probably a bit of a two combo of, as I said, I felt like the setup got better as the track rubbered in, and yeah, I probably got a bit more comfortable as the race went on, just started to actually get it into a bit of a groove with the car. But it was tricky under the hotter conditions. If me and Cam were discussing it before I just came in there, and I was discussing it with Brett, who was spotting a bit of that race as well, because obviously these cars are on an older car, on an older tyre model. When it gets really hot, they get very skittish, and they tend to have the thing, which is why we would have seen a lot of spins randomly tonight, where they just kind of randomly go without much feeling, and that's kind of just what a lot of the older tire models were like back in the day, and any car that still is still kind of like that. So yeah, in the hotter conditions, I was probably a little more cautious, just because it's so easy to just literally go like maybe a K or two too fast or something, and it just goes and you can't save it. So yeah, so I was definitely a little more cautious in the hot weather and just keeping it straight. But yeah, overall it was not too bad, to be honest. Overall.
Yeah, 100%, man. Massive kudos to you. Awesome race. Is there anyone you'd like to thank besides Daniel Stevens?
Yeah, 90% Daniel Stevens. Obviously. Big thanks to Dan again. He's a top lad and just an awesome guy, and just he's always amazing with that sort of stuff. And anytime I need setups for oddball races like this, I guess that I don't normally run, he's always willing to help. So big thanks to Dan for that. Big thanks as well to just really to everybody. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of good battling throughout the field, and it was really good. So thanks to everybody for coming along and having a great race. Big thanks obviously to everyone at HJR /Team Shifters, Henry for the paint, and just everyone else in the team. Brett for spotting as well. He didn't have to, but I just decided to just jump in the voice chat while he was doing something and annoy him. And he decided to hang around. So thanks, Brett. Thank you. And obviously, big thanks to Majors for putting on the race again. They always do a great job. It's always great fun. It's awesome just being able to jump in and drive something that you don't normally get to drive, something different. It's always good fun. And obviously, big thanks to you guys for, I'm sure, putting on a great show of everything that was going on.
Thank you so much, mate. Well done for your race. Second place, Thomas Inns.
Thank you.
So also to join us, he's a thirsty man. It's the race winner, Cam Dance, and you led quite a lot of laps early. Ewan Baker was right on your tail. He was leading at one of the previous safety car restarts, but then you just had the perfect position for a 7-lap dash, and you didn't look like you were going to let Thomas Hinz get around you. Mate, this room's pushed to talk, I think.
Sorry, mic was muted. That'll help. It was like the one race where it was like, well, I'm the best in the car. I'm on pole. I'm not losing this race. So yeah, no, it was awesome fight at the end with Hinsey. It was like shades of 2021 again. I was like, oh, there we go again. But no, it was awesome. Like this car is just like a lot of fun. Like every time I jump in it, it's just like I have got a smile from ear to ear every single time. So no, it was a really, really good race. There was a point where it was like, this might not end bad, might not end well, but we'll see what happens, sort of thing. But no, really, really good race in the end, and some pretty good battles as well.
Yeah, and so then in the middle, you had some drivers sort of staying out, hoping for, repeat yellows. You dropped a little deeper in the field. So even with the qualifying pace you had, race pace you still spent a lot of it, presumably looking at the relative, hearing calls from your spotters, trying to jump positions and not let you and Baker catch and overtake you or pull away from you. And a lot of the middle of the race was chaotic.
Yeah, and around that sort of midpoint when the track started to heat up, my setup was built for the cooler conditions, so it started to get a little bit dicey with obviously having a lot of push in some places and then a bit of oversteer in others, and I was like, oh, I've got to try and fix this, so throw a bit of wing off it, sort of helped, and I was like, see what happens. If it dies, it dies. If not, we'll go back to it. But yeah, no, it ended up working out quite well with the way the track conditions were changing as the race went on, and the way the strategy was working, it was like got to a point where it was like, well, we can pretty much top up and get home on one more stop, and then pretty much is one more stop from here, fill it up, yep, sweet, and then just give as many quali laps as possibly could.
Yeah, and let her rip. There you go. And so the track conditions changed not just through the race, but also through qualifying, and you timed that really well to get yourself the pole position.
Yeah, I was actually surprised I was the only one in the fives, to be honest. I thought that quali would have been a bit closer and that more people had taken advantage of the cooler track at the start, but no, not in the end. And the way that it was going, it just kept getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and I was like, well, there's no point going back out because it's not going to be an improvement. So yeah, it was a really, really well-timed qualifying. I did think it was actually going to cool off, but it didn't quite in the end, so we timed it quite well to get out there first and get a lap in, and then from there it was just, yeah, plain sailing.
So 2 hours and 19 minutes to get 200 miles of racing in. When there's sort of repeat cautions like we had, and you're up front or whatever, what are you thinking?
Mainly just trying to capitalize where you can. Obviously, like we didn't get into turn one like it was like 3 times or something, so it was a bit frustrating, and knowing that the pace was there to get past the guys in front, but I just wasn't able to do anything with the fact that you just kept getting caution after caution after caution. It was sort of frustrating, but then if you did get a bit of a gap going because you've lost a bit of time or something, it was like, oh yes, we're back in it, sort of thing. So yeah, it had its sort of ebbs and flows. It sort of helped, it sort of didn't. It was, yeah, you just have to sort of roll with it and work with what you've got, really.
And what happened the time you lost sort of momentum around the outside of turn one? Did you tag the outside wall on the way in or have a misshift or something?
Yeah, I don't know quite how I did it, but I caught the outside wall on the way in, and it just ended up getting stuck on the wall, and I was like, oh, uh-oh. So I wasn't quite sure how I did it. I might have just got a little bit too close, but yeah, we managed to just recover from there, and luckily the caution came out because I wasn't sure what my tyres were doing or whether I had any damage or anything like that. So yeah, it was a quite well-timed caution after that.
Well, congratulations. Incredibly fierce battle between yourself and Thomas Hinz right at the end there, from the wall down to the apron and back to defend your spot into turn 3. Well done. Congratulations. And certainly across 200 laps, everything was in play the whole time right until that final stint.
Yeah, it absolutely was. The car was just amazing. The way the race played out sort of helped us a little bit in some regard, but it did just do everything we needed it to do, and we just rolled with the punches, rolled with how it was, and just, yeah, ended up coming away with it up. So, yeah, sweet as, and obviously cheers to all the Orbit Drop Their Motorsport boys for all the cheering on along the way and firing up in the chat. So, awesome to see them getting behind it, and yeah, obviously everybody that's on the car for all of the support as always, and shout out to Connor as well for jumping into comms for the first time in a while. Did pretty good, so cheers, brother.
Give us one last shuckers on your way out. Thanks for joining us, Cam.
Yeah, Chapra.
He's a special, special man, and he's the winner of Majors Series Japan Indy 300, a really thrilling racing. And Major Series racing continues. World Series of Asphalt, New Smyrna Speedway, Sunday, August 17th. It's been David Haynes with Connor Nixon, Jay Kennedy in the production to bring you this Major Series international region coverage. Can't wait for you to join us again next time here on SimSpeed TV.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, anybody got a setup? Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, This is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Anybody really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.